Hi, it's Tony Marino, host of the super popular NEWSMAX Daily Podcast, a rundown of the day's top headlines and top highlights of NEWSMAX shows and interviews you may have missed, plus some sports, stock markets, and even some yucks, all packed into about 20 minutes. Search for the NEWSMAX Daily with me, Tony Marino, on your favorite podcast platform, and check out our entire lineup of great podcasts, including Greg Kelly, Rob Carson, and Jerry Callahan at newsmax.com/listen.
Now, you are about to hear the most interesting, informative, thought-provoking, and funny show in America. On air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
This is the Rob Carson Show. It is Tuesday. It's already the 14th of October. Can you believe it? Halfway through October. And, 24 hours of peace in the Middle East, and Hamas just FAFO. Just try it. Just see what you can do there. A lot of stuff happening over the last 24 hours. And, of course, a lot of things happening this weekend. And, of course, the peace deal. It is history in the making. Donald Trump now has, 7 peace deals under his belt just in 9 months. As the President of the United States, he sealed the border with Mexico and ended illegal immigration and effectively ended the fentanyl crisis and the child sex trafficking crisis that, of course, Joe Biden said nothing about. The economy is rocking $17 trillion in new investment around the world, manufacturing coming back to the United States. It looks like inflation is at a standstill there. Blue-collar wages are rising faster than inflation for the first time in about 4 years, and the Democrats are going to have a No Kings protest. So there you go. The Democrat Party is, and the left are, toddlers. They are toddlers. You know that thing they did in Portland where they all rode around on bikes naked? You ever notice that the only people who want to be naked in public are the people you least want to see naked in public? You never see, some really Sydney Sweeney at one of these protests. My God, I would go to the protest if Sydney Sweeney was going to be riding a bike. My God, are you kidding me? But no, they get a bunch of fat loser boomers out there on their bikes, and my God, I mean, if you could just imagine the number of those, the antibacterial wipes they need for the seats on those things. My God, you could make a fortune out there. You could make a fortune just selling antibacterial wipes for the bike seats. But there they are. They're throwing a temper tantrum. They're throwing themselves on the ground. You've seen this. They're throwing themselves in front of vehicles trying to leave ICE facilities. They're behaving like petulant toddlers. You ever been to a grocery store and you see a kid who hasn't been corrected by his parents, and if he doesn't get his candy bar, he'll just throw himself down on the ground and start pounding up, and you're just hoping and praying that mom grabs him, takes him out, and gives him a whooping in the car. That's what the Democrat Party is right now. That's what the left is right now. They're a very small percentage of the population, very vocal, and if I were a Democrat in good standing, and thank God I'm not, I would be embarrassed. I would be embarrassed because your children are making fools of you. Your children are making fools of you and your party. These idiots over here, wearing inflatable costumes, at ICE protests and protesting all the wrong things and everything. Your children are embarrassing you, Democrat Party. Honestly, you ought to take them back to like when I was growing up in Iowa. We in St. Pat's Catholic Church, they had a cry room back there in the back, and it had a window. And nobody ever looked back at the cry room. And I don't think you wanted to know what was going on in the cry room, because if there was some kid misbehaving in church, they went to the cry room, and it wasn't just about babies crying. It was about kids acting up in church. So I just think, that's what you got to do with your kids. You got to give them a good whooping. I'm not a big corporal punishment fan, by the way. I think it should be reserved between two adults and consenting adults in the privacy of their own home. But a figurative whooping is definitely in order, and certainly when you smack an ICE agent, you should get a little whooping as well. So anyway, a lot of stuff going on. Again, Democrat Party, you shouldn't be embarrassed by your children, but everybody in the world has to notice that Donald Trump made history with this peace deal between Israel and Hamas involving 7 Arab states and, of course, the freeing of 20 hostages. Even NBC had to make a big deal out of it.
Tonight, the miraculous homecoming. Jubilation as vans carry freed Israeli hostages back into Israel. And the moment the massive crowd that packed Hostage Square all night erupts in cheers.
It's an incredible moment.
Did I mention the Democrats' reaction to this is to have a no kings protest on top of the other protests they've had where they burn Teslas and stuff?
Right now here at Hostage Square, everyone's looking to the skies because a military helicopter carrying some of the hostages is flying over Tel Aviv right now.
All day, the emotions pouring out. After
cool.
738 days, many in underground Hamas tunnels. 20 Israelis are finally back home. 2 years ago, the world watched in horror at these images. Hamas terrorists abducting Noah Argamani onto a motorcycle as her boyfriend is also dragged away.
You know, the pain that they must have gone through. And the great thing is that Hamas no longer has any trump cards. Donald Trump has the trump cards. See what I did there? Donald Trump, they got nothing. They got no weapons stream. They got no supply stream coming in. Joe Biden gave them a $300 million wharf to bring in food that they would hoard and then and sell on the black market to supply their weapons. And then, of course, they'd park their missile batteries in the schoolyards and hospitals and all of that. Well, that bleep is over. That stuff is over. And if Hamas really wants to mess around, it could get really big, bad, and ugly very soon. And I hope it does. I hope they do. I hope the 7,000 Hamas members that are supposedly getting together, and they're doing public executions over there and everything. I hope that Hamas messes around. I'll just be kind. Messes around and finds out. Here's a little bit more from yesterday.
Matan Zangauker's mother cried, "You are my life," upon seeing her son.
Beautiful.
Eviatar David, shown in Hamas propaganda videos, being forced to dig his own grave, embraced his parents. Twin brothers Gali and Ziv Berman, separated by Hamas, hugged upon seeing each other for the first time in 2 years. They were given matching jerseys from their favorite soccer team to wear on the helicopter flight from the IDF military base where their families gathered to meet them.
Wow.
Noah Argamani, separated from her boyfriend Avinatan Or on October 7th as both were dragged by Hamas terrorists into Gaza, had been waiting for him every day since her rescue last year. Alon Ohel, a musician whose piano became the symbol of his captivity, sat between his parents, holding the lyrics to a song which he told other hostages he wanted to hear.
You know, doesn't this all kind of echo the history that many of us have experienced? And you know, of course, people who are older than me have experienced since the creation of Israel and of course, World War II. Think about all the things that have been echoed and repeated by Hamas. Some of the same voices and the same phrases are being used against Israel in places like the United States of America, and it has been exposed. And isn't it nice to know we have a man in the office of President of the United States who is putting an end to this, has taken Iran out of the equation, has used the strategic bombing of the Iran nuclear sites to take Iran out of the equation, and Iran wants to negotiate now. You know, Barack Obama gave Iran pallets of cash. And by the way, that wasn't any sort of agreement. That was a tribute. I was thinking about that last night. Barack Obama sent pallets of cash to Iran. That was tribute. That was tribute to the Iranian leaders. That was a sign of respect. There was like a, hey, peace out kind of thing. That's what he did. That's what Barack Obama did. It was worse than Neville Chamberlain did with Hitler. He actually just sent them tribute, gifts, gifts of support to the Iranian regime. And what did it do? They went ahead with their nuclear program. Meanwhile, Donald Trump said, we're going to send some stealth bombers in there. We're going to blow the snot out of their nuclear facility. And here we are a couple weeks later. Iran is out of the equation. Hamas only has the weapons they have. That's it. And if they screw around, they're going to find out. Still a lot of balls in the air. I get it. But, isn't it nice that we have a president of the United States with, as the Israelis like to say, chutzpah. We call it chutzpah. Yeah. Awesome. This is Jim Gossett as the
I am
president.
steam rolling, baby.
Yeah, you are.
Bringing 8 wars to an end.
That little Chicago blues for you there.
I got a ceasefire, baby.
He's going to Chicago next.
Now BB's my closest friend.
Who would have seen this coming?
I will not cease achieving peace.
Oh, yeah, we
America,
did.
I will defend.
We knew this would happen, you see, because that's why we voted for him.
I am steamrolling, baby.
Steamroll.
Crime is down here in D.C.
Oh, D.C.'s fantastic now. You should come visit.
In Portland and Memphis,
I got a place with a loft. You can
I'm
stay.
giving folks security. The Democrats keep whining, but they are not a match for me.
No, they are not. No, they are not. And they can keep caterwauling because they are on a death spiral into hell. Yeah, baby. Woo! Jim Gossett. So, coming up yesterday, Scott Adams had some amazing thoughts on social media, and I think you can relate to it. I think you and I can relate to it because he said some things about what it's been like for you and me as MAGA conservatives the last decade and what it's cost us, and whether or not it was worth it. I think it was. But the cost has been great. We got that coming up. We got John Solomon and Mike Davis on the show. John Solomon from Just the News. Mike Davis, Article 3 Project. And I'm going to tell you what, Mike Davis has taken no prisoners. He says Big Tish is going to the big house. All of that is coming up on the show. All we need is you. 1-800-922-6680. This is the Rob Carson Show.
Letitia James is gonna be in trouble. The FBI is looking at her loan. They just launched a new investigation. The name Letitia gave was not her own. I hope they nail her, jail her, send her to the slammer. She should be fired, retired for all the laws she broke. Letitia James is through, you know it's true. I'll be excited when she's indicted. Letitia's gonna get handcuffed and I think I like it. I'll be delighted when she's indicted. I know that she's guilty. Letitia's going down. She'll be run out of town.
Mom Donnie, a socialist. Mom Donnie, a communist. He's a fan of Hamas. His win will be New York's loss. He's an extremist, you bet, as New York's gonna get taxed like never before. When Mom Donnie is done, the city will run every grocery store. He'll defund the police and crime will increase as the murder rate begins to soar. Mom Donnie, anti-Jew, he despises Netanyahu. It is really a sin. New Yorkers voted him in. They'll regret that they helped him win.
Sending troops to Memphis, Tennessee, 'cause it looks like Memphis could use some help from me. The mayor has done nothing to put criminals away. Memphis needs our help, and they need it there today. The city's run by Democrats who defunded police. They can't do their jobs or maintain the peace. I'm sending in the guard. Memphis needs it bad. Their mayor, Paul Young, that guy's really sad. Voted the most dangerous place in the USA. Wouldn't want to live there. Wouldn't want to stay. Sending in the guard. That goal, it was mine. Democrats in Memphis, listen to them whine.
The Rob Carson Show podcast is everywhere. Go to newsmax.com/listen for details.
It is the Rob Carson Show, broadcasting live from Washington, D.C. Now going on, we're like almost 4 months here. 4 months living here. It's crazy. It's crazy. We are the only nationally syndicated program that not only features conservative opinion, but also entertainment. I don't know if you noticed that. We do some entertainment here. The only show nationally that does comedy in the same vein that I wrote for Rush Limbaugh, Talent on Loan from God. Because you know what? We like to use humor to make a point. And the only way we would have survived the last 4 years, let alone the last 2, is to use humor to make a point. That's what we do quite well. We, of course, are on radio stations around the country, and we also streaming live on all NEWSMAX social media, and generally number one streaming product on NEWSMAX social media. Because I'm, in case you didn't notice, slightly animated. Slightly animated. A lot of stuff happening. Yael Adar, the mother of a slain hostage, Tamir Adar, delivers a searing criticism of Israel's leadership handling the issue of the return of hostages' bodies, saying that the government has betrayed the families whose loved ones were in captivity and were killed, have not been returned. This is one of those provisions of the 21-point peace agreement that may not be being complied with, and that's one of those things that I'm hoping is a trigger that maybe Mr. Netanyahu and the IDF can go in and clean out Hamas, just clean them out altogether. That way we won't have any members of Hamas left, and then the people over there who still love Hamas are going to go, well, who are you going to love? Because they're all gone now. So we will see. I can't imagine what it's like. And I was thinking about this morning. What a joy it would be to get your loved one home after 738 days in captivity. Can you imagine? The only thing that we can recall is the Iranian hostage situation. I was just a kid when that happened, and Jimmy Carter was the president. And of course, Jimmy Carter was feckless, just like Joe Biden. Joe Biden didn't say anything, never mentioned anyone's names while he was the president about those. Even the Americans who were murdered. There were many American citizens murdered and held captive, and Joe Biden didn't say a dang thing about it. Not a dang thing about it, but enough to get your loved one back alive. I can't even imagine. If the videos that I've seen have just been so heart-wrenching and joyous. I found myself weeping out loud watching these parents see their loved ones, watching these fathers meet their children. It's quite remarkable. But also how enormously sad it would be to not have the body of your child. To have the body of your child would mean so much. And when that's all you have, can you imagine? Can you imagine the sadness? I can't. This is why I'm not so forgiving of Hamas. This is why I hope that they screw around and, the Israeli, the IDF, and whoever can go in and just wipe them out. That's what I hope. Scott Adams is a man who's sacrificed everything. His career, he was he drew this Delbert comic, made a lot of money on Delbert. It's very popular. We don't see as many comics that are this successful. You know, Calvin and Hobbes. You remember all those? And Dilbert was one of them, and all of that. And Far Side. Remember that Far Side? And Scott Adams came out as a conservative supporter of Donald Trump and lost everything, ostracized completely, lost family members and whatever. And yesterday and he's also dying of prostate cancer. He's also dying of prostate cancer, and he should be gone by now. He didn't think he would, but he's still around. I'm hoping that he's making progress, maybe trying some of the new protocols that have been suggested by people like Robert Kennedy Jr. to fight prostate cancer. But I want you to listen to what he had to say because it resonates with me. I'm sure it resonates with you. I've lost all of my friends. I have a few conservative friends, but I've lost all of my liberal friends. I've lost essentially a foster daughter that I kind of was a father figure in her life for 25 years. She no longer talks to me. I had a mother, woman who was she called herself my broadcast mom in college, and I stayed in touch with her until about 3 years ago, and she was screaming at me about being a Trump supporter, and I said, I've known you for 30 years. I've never discussed politics. I'm not going to start now. She got cancer, the terminal cancer, never bothered to call me, never bothered to tell me so I could come and visit her, even though she was only 90 miles away, and she passed away without me knowing about it. It was really, it's been very hard. And then, of course, what's happened in my family, which I know politics played a part in. But here is Scott Adams talking about what we have been through to arrive yesterday at one of the greatest moments in world peace history.
In 2016, when I decided I didn't know I was doing it at the time, but quickly I figured it out. When I decided I would throw away my entire social life, to back Trump. And when I eventually threw away my entire career, which even before I was canceled, my licensing business and book sales went to almost nothing because I was supporting Trump. I sacrificed everything. I sacrificed my social life. I sacrificed my career. I sacrificed my reputation. I may have sacrificed my health. And I did that because I believed it was worth it. Today's the day. Today's the day. Whew. I'm really happy I lived long enough to see it.
Wow.
It was worth it. Not just for this, but it was worth it. It was worth it to be right. It's worth it to be right.
Yes.
Save the country, maybe save the world. But it wasn't free. Probably every one of you said, you know what? You're not going to tell me who to vote for.
Nope.
You know what? You're not going to manipulate me.
No.
You know what? I'm going to do what I think is right. And
You're not going to tell me my opinion is disinformation. You're not going to tell me I can't share my opinion. These are the fruits of what these SOBs did to us, and they've been proven wrong.
I'm going to follow this all the way. All the MAGA supporters, you all took a personal and professional risk for the benefit of the country, and you knew that it was going to cost you dearly. You lost family members, lost your daughter, somebody says, You lost friends, you lost jobs, it cost you money, and you were right. In the end, you were right. You bet the right way.
I wanted an intact family. I always consider my family to be an island. And I always said my proudest accomplishments were my studio, my family, and my marriage. And the only thing that survived, unfortunately, was the studio.
You know that I've been all in since 2016. All in. I bet it all. I just bet everything. I bet everything to get to this point. The golden age. So here we are. I don't even know if I want to talk about the news today. It just feels so good to be on the right side of history. Because you never know. You never know if you're going to be on the right side of history. Boy, are we on the right side of history right now.
Yeah, and I understand now how brothers fought brothers during the Civil War. I really do. I was never able to relate to that. I was never able to relate that growing up, learning about it, thinking, oh my God, what would that have been like? But the people in my life, friends and whatnot, who line up on the opposite side of the political equation, they chose the separation. They chose it. And it has been enormously destructive to all of us. But you know what? We were right, and we continue to be right, and we stood up for what is right. And now 20 hostages are free, and there's peace in the Middle East. There you go. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. Don't go anywhere. Hey guys, it's Carson. When I was a kid, and I would ride in a car, I would get so car sick and so nauseous, my parents would have to carry me into the house. Recently, I went on a sailboat in Mexico, and I got so motion sick, I was sick all day. Then I found Relief Band. If you get nauseous, you absolutely must get Relief Band. Relief Band is the original anti-nausea wristband that quickly relieves and effectively prevents nausea and vomiting associated with motion sickness, anxiety, migraines, hangovers, morning sickness, chemotherapy, and much more. Relief Band is legitimately a band you wear on your wrist to give you relief from nausea, and you can change the intensity to make it stronger or weaker. It's 100% drug-free, non-drowsy, works quickly before or after symptoms start, and has 0 side effects. Relief Band has sold over 1 million devices and is backed by thousands of 4-star and above reviews, making it a trusted choice for fast-acting, natural nausea relief. Right now, we've got an exclusive offer just for Rob Carson Show listeners. If you go to reliefband.com, use promo code Carson, you'll receive 20% off plus free shipping. So head to reliefband.com, use promo code Carson for 20% off plus free shipping.
I make the Democrats look incredibly dumb. Inflation is down, the economy's starting to hum. Still, it's a real good bet, the best is yet to come. Best is yet to come since we bombed Iran. Taking out all their nukes, that was part of the plan. The border's secure once again. Illegals are getting in. DOJ has saved us billions. This is what it's like to win. Best is yet to come, and it's gonna be fine. Best is yet to come, hear the Democrats whine. Listen to them whine. The last laugh is mine.
Tim Walz is a lefty who's ruined his state. Now he wants our children to self-mutilate. His policies are disgusting and lewd. And now he says schools have to include tampons in the boys' room. Tampons in the boys' room. Tim Walz and Kamala, a couple of fools. And everybody knows that liberals want to ruin schools. Tim allowed his cities to be burned by BLM. Criminals, illegals, they can count on Tim. His uniform, Tim was disgraced. He really crossed the line the moment that he placed tampons in the boys' room. Tampons in the boys' room. Tim Walz is a commie. Kamala is too. And everyone should know the damage that these two could do.
single thing a 5-alarm fire.
Yeah.
If he does good, if he gets the Israeli hostages out, I promise I will wear a MAGA hat for one day on the show and say, thank you for doing it. She'll knock it right off my head. But like you have to be able to cheer for wins when they happen and then call out relentlessly the wrongdoing.
Well, we will see if Alyssa Farah of the Heartbeats from Hell, gosh darn, I did it again. The View, I keep forgetting, the View and Heartbeats from Hell sound so alike, I screw them up every once in a while. It's like the city sheriff shot the city marshal. You got to be careful about it. So the View, we will see if Alyssa Farah wears that hat today, the MAGA hat that she promised to wear. And, you know, honestly, what a foolish prediction to make. What a foolish prediction to discount Donald Trump being able to get a peace accord, honestly, when you consider that what he did during the first administration when the DOJ was weaponized against him. They created a Russia collusion hoax, and they delivered an impeachment without any backing and a raid on Mar-a-Lago, and then, of course, 98% negative coverage. And then the summer of 2020 where they burned the country and they attacked the St. John's Church across from the White House and drove Donald Trump into the bunker and all of that. Yeah, that's what they did. That's what they did. And it's kind of foolish, if you don't want to look like a fool, to bet against Donald Trump. And they did. They bet against Donald Trump. And, not so much anymore. Not so much anymore. But there are some people who are attempting to take credit for it. To say that, for instance, Joe Biden, he even though he had pudding for brains and honestly, not much going on up there, and everybody knows it except for Jake Tapper, who waited until after Joe Biden was booted out of the race because his brain doesn't work, and then he acted stupid on it, and he wrote a book about it that he's been touring on and all of that stuff. But here is Joe Biden saying the reason why Hamas struck on October the 7th was because of him.
I cannot prove what I'm about to say, but I believe one of the reasons why Hamas struck when they did was they knew that I was working very closely with the Saudis and others in the region to bring peace to the region by having recognition of Israel and Israel's right to exist.
Yeah, but you didn't recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, did you? Nobody did until Donald Trump did it during his first administration. And, of course, he said he had no proof of it because he's not telling you the truth. That's why there's no proof of it. So there was that. Here is Jake Tapper, who didn't know that Joe Biden had dementia, even though everybody knew he had dementia. This is Jake in 2021 predicting that Joe Biden would win the Nobel Prize.
You say that you think the Israel-Hamas ceasefire could be President Biden's opportunity for a Nobel Peace Prize. You write to Biden, quote, "You may be interested in China, but the Middle East is still interested in you. You deftly helped to engineer the ceasefire from the sidelines. Do you want to, do you dare to
Joe Biden never did anything deftly.
Dive into the middle of this new Kissingerian,
oh my God,
moment, unquote. Give us your estimate on whether or not you think Biden will lean into this diplomatic victory and try to make peace between Israel and the Palestinians a priority.
Oh, my God, a Kissingerian moment. You know what we got right now, Jake Tapper? We got a kiss my buddy-in moment. That's what we got. Here's Newt Gingrich talking about the buffoonery that befell the Biden administration.
The entire Democratic left wing is out of touch with reality and verges on crazy. Blinken is part of that group.
Yeah.
Why would you think that he has
Tony Blinken
any realistic sense of what happened? They were a disaster in Afghanistan.
Yeah, they were.
They were a disaster in Ukraine.
Yeah, they were.
They were a disaster in the Middle East.
Yeah, they were.
They were a disaster in Venezuela.
Yep.
Every time you turn around, left-wing
because they have the crap touch. Remember crap touch?
Democrats do not understand the real world. They do not understand how it works. But you can't expect Blinken to go off quietly.
No, there you go. See, because they're like Neville Chamberlain in England, and they're like Barack Obama sending the Iranians pallets of cash, thinking that it would, giving them tribute would somehow get them on the good side. But all they're going to do is just smack you upside the head, and that's what they did. That's what they did. But I think Barack kind of liked that. He enjoyed the pain to some degree, and they didn't do anything. Here's a little bit from Newt Gingrich on the historic significance, and it is, by the way, and it is the 7th peace deal that Donald Trump has negotiated, including ending a possible nuclear conflict between India and Pakistan. Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing he did that. But the left is still going to do their stupid No Kings protest, which is bought and paid for. What they're trying to do is foment some sort of a civil war. I mean, that's what they're trying to do. I mean, we know that there's been a civil war. I've been saying this. The left and the Democrat Party have declared a civil war, and they have proxies and they have troops. We know that Antifa is bought and paid for with billions of dollars, even $100 million in taxpayer money, and it is a civil war. It has a body count. It has casualties. It has damages to the tune of billions of dollars, summer of 2020 and whatnot. But it is, of course, the Democrats are able to do it without any accountability because they're not officially, uniformed troops of the Democrat Party. So there you go. It's plausible deniability is what it is. All the damage, and then they just say that, Antifa doesn't exist. Yeah, which is just idiotic. Here is Newt Gingrich.
It's an extraordinary moment, and figuring out why is it that for all these years, I mean, Israel's been embattled for almost its entire nearly 80 years of existence.
Yeah, it has.
And now, suddenly, Donald Trump comes along, changes the whole game.
Did you see Hostage Square yesterday with the Israelis as Air Force One arrived and the tears of joy? And, I mean, it was beautiful. It really was beautiful. You think about Israel, I'm an unabashed fan of Israel, particularly after October the 7th, and then the left trying to make the world forget about October the 7th, the second Holocaust. It got me closer to Israel, closer than ever to Israel. And I saw that yesterday. It meant so much that Israeli mothers could sleep, that they could not have to worry about air raid sirens going off and missiles coming in, whether they be from Iran or whether they be from Hamas. A remarkable moment.
No American president has done anything like this.
No.
Theodore Roosevelt got a Peace Prize for having helped bring the Russian-Japanese war together in, I think, 1905. But this is totally different. Here is a moment in history where you saw all these countries all coming together. You saw that Trump personally knew every person on that stage. You saw that here's somebody who can literally span the planet with personal friends, contacts, intermediaries, and represents a level of vision and a level of toughness. I mean, as he himself said, without the B-2 bombers taking out the Iranian system, we still might not be here.
Yeah, remember when everybody talked about World War III starting in the Middle East? World War III was going to start in the Middle East. Here's Donald Trump on that.
We're going to make sure that the Middle East is going to be a safe and secure place. It's a very important place in the world, means so much. There were so many people who said the Middle East, and this has been going for many, many decades. I've read it many times, that World War III will begin in the Middle East. It's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. There was a time that you would have thought it could have, but it's not going to happen. There won't be World War III, hopefully at all. But it's not going to start in the Middle East. We're not going.
It's remarkable. These are remarkable times. If you listen to the radio show, I've been very blessed because of I've got life experience and common sense, and I think this nationally syndicated radio and television show came along at a time in my life where I was crystallized as a human being, sober. And we were all under attack by, like we've never seen before, by our own government censoring our speech. And we all came together. We all came together at this time in history. And what we're witnessing is something that we could have only dreamed about a decade or more ago, right? Could only have dreamed about this happening. And it is happening. It is happening. And the left is fighting it tooth and nail, unwilling to recognize the good of it because they have sided on the evil of it. They've sided on the side of evil with it. It's remarkable. Here is the President of the United States talking about the Biden administration. You know, the Biden administration for 4 years said they couldn't do anything about the border after they opened the border. They opened the border. They stuffed the southern border with Trojan horse, with millions and millions of illegals, unvetted for disease, criminality, and whatnot. Brought them over the southern border and then said nothing could be done about it. Donald Trump proved that was wrong almost immediately. I've got a little bit more on this coming up. Let's take a break and come back. This, my friends, is the Rob Carson Show. A little Jimmy for you. You know, one of the things that I really hate the most, one of the phishing scams that I see online every dang day, it says your account information is overdue. Your credit card is, whatever. And it's trying to tell you that you need to update your payment plan for something, because a lot of times you have subscriptions to things. I've got a $40 a month subscription to X. I do. It's kind of not my X. That's much more expensive. My subscription to my X is hella expensive. You wouldn't believe how much it's costing me every month. But anyway, my X subscription is like $40. X Premium and all of that. And all of a sudden you get this thing and it says, "Oh yeah, your credit card information needs updated. You're overdue." And you're like, "What the hell?" All right, and you click on it. It's very vague, and then you realize you're about to get hosed. And you got to be careful because there are a lot of people who have a lot of tricky ways of getting you. That's why I have this wonderful service called WebRoot Total Protection. WebRoot Total Protection is what it's called. Real-time antivirus protection against emerging threats like malware, ransomware, phishing, scams like that I see every damn day. And it's not easy up. I got it on my phone too. You can do it from more than one device. You can. Firewall and network monitor, web threat, shield detects and blocks malicious websites before you can visit them. I did the other day. I tried to download some software for the 3 cameras that I have in my studio here in Old Town Alexandria. That's my studio. It's kind of cool. Yeah. And it ended up just freezing my computer up. And I put a lot of money in this dang computer. And it could have just eaten it alive. Could have destroyed my hard drive. But we got it. Now I got WebRoot Total Protection. And right now you can get 60% off. Here's how you do it. You ready? Write this down. I mean it. Do this. Right now in your web browser, go up there in Explorer or whatever you got. Put webroot.com/Carson. Webroot.com/Carson. It's going to open up and you're going to go, "What? It only costs that per year? Oh my God, I'm going to get it." You will. You're going to go, "Oh my God, there's no way. There's just no way it only costs that much." Webroot.com/Carson. 60% off for a limited time only when you go to webroot.com/Carson. There you go. Here is Donald Trump after 10 years of 98% negative press coverage, after 2 impeachments, one after he left office, after a raid on Mar-a-Lago, after 91 counts after he said he was going to run for president. Clearly, the DOJ, the whole of media, social media, weaponized against him. He was literally not able to comment. He had a gag order on all of the cases against him. He couldn't defend himself at all in the public square. After all of that, he has now 7 peace deals under his belt, and we've got peace in the Middle East, and much deservedly, he should be able to trash the previous administration.
We're going to get a lot of people joining the Abraham Accords. We have the 4 great nations that did it early on, and they stayed with it. And then you had the Biden administration, which is the worst administration in the history of our country. Yeah. And obviously, they did nothing on that and anything else.
It was a joke.
And so it stayed at 4. And now a lot of people, even today, they're talking about all joining up. So many people have talked to me about that. And it's going to be a great tribute to really the United States. I mean, the United States has worked very hard in the Middle East, so it would be a tribute to us and to Jared and to Steve.
And by the way, we also know a lot of our soldiers have died in the Middle East because other presidents didn't have a solution. So they did Desert Storm, Desert Shield, Desert this, Desert that, put our boots on the ground, and ended up sending a whole lot of our boys back in boxes and injured physically and mentally. Now we got charities that buy houses for them because our VA doesn't take care of them like they should. Well, those days are over. Those days are over. And yet we still got people like Christiane Amanpour, who's a CNN, whatever the hell she is, harpy. And here she is yesterday on TV. She had to apologize. I got to apologize. She says that, the hostages who were starved and sexually abused and kept out of the sunlight for 2 years and all that were actually treated better than Gazans.
And I think for sure, people who start to talk to the hostages who've only just been released will find that it will take a long, long time for them to recover physically but also mentally. It's been a terrible, terrible 2 years for them because not only are they there, they're probably being treated better than the average Gazan because they are the pawns and the chips that Hamas had. Now Hamas has given up all its leverage, by the way, by giving them all up.
Oh, yeah. I mean, honestly, staying in a hole in the ground for 2 years, being starved and beaten and forced to dig your own grave. I had a 5-star hotel. My God, did you get to keep the shampoos and the little soaps, too, while you're down there staying in the hole in the ground? My God, here is Christiane Amanpour attempting to apologize.
Now, earlier live on air, I spoke about what a day of real joy this is for Israeli families whose loved ones are finally being returned from 2 years of horrific Hamas captivity, and for civilians in Gaza.
Yeah, but I'm going to be freed by Donald Trump. I'm taking these towels.
Who finally had a reprieve from 2 years.
I'm going to clean out the minibar.
Of brutal and deadly war. I noted that for the hostages who are finally home, it'll take a long time for them to recover mentally and physically. But I regret also saying that they might have been treated better than many Gazans because Hamas used these hostages as pawns and bargaining chips. But that was insensitive and it was wrong. From speaking to many former hostages and their families, like everyone I've been.
But this is what the media does. They sympathize with Hamas and the people who support Hamas. The people who supported 9/11 and then their children who got candy tossed them after 9/11 grew up and then committed the acts of October the 7th. And Christiane Amanpour is on their side because they erased the second Holocaust weeks after it happened on October the 7th. And now they're dining on crow. I'll just say that. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. All right, let's say hi to everybody. And man, you guys are busy today. Look at all the people on the YouTube. YouTube's growing. So, all of them are. Doug, want to say hi to Doug. Good to see you there on the show. Talking about NGOs. I've got some NGO news coming up about all the money that's gone to NGOs and how it really ties into what is happening in places like California and Chicago, by the way. Mickey Hastings, I have often said to my children throughout their lives, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. All my love, Rob. Yeah, it's going to take me a long time to forgive my friends and some family members for what happened in the last couple of years. It is really hard, really, really hard to know that they would let politics get in the way of a doting father. Astro Turtle. Hello, Astro Turtle. And Dookie Bear. Good to see you guys over on the Rumbly Roo. Round a Pony, as always, watching over there. Make sure to share with others so we can have some new names added to the viewership. It would be awesome. Let's see what's happening on Facebook. Kathy Doman. Hello. Hi. She says, hi, Rob. I said hi right back. Stop it, you guys. Vicky Stevens. Good to see you. You're always there. Robert Lawson as well. Dale Arsenault. Hope you're doing well. I'm doing pretty well. Getting some stuff done here. Getting ready to tape my TV show today. That's one of the things I do on Tuesdays. See, because I have to write the TV show and get all the video clips starting on the Friday the week before, 9 days before the next show airs. So I don't really get a day off on the weekends. I'm not complaining because I got to do this for a living. It's pretty amazing. I know, it's kind of cool. Thank you, Chris Ruddy at NEWSMAX. You rock. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. I got to check this. We got a bunch of stuff coming up. Next hour, it's John Solomon, by the way. John Solomon is next hour. It's amazing. Here we go.
In about 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
Come on, Pete. Stop. Got to get me there.
He's been the most hyper-political and hyper-partisan post-president we've ever had. He's still acting that way.
He's talking about Barack Obama. This is Scott Jennings.
They're not over the fact that Donald Trump won the national popular vote last year.
No.
And they keep warning about the same things that they were warning and fussing about during the campaign, to which the American people then responded to. I think Donald Trump is executing every part of his agenda in almost exactly the way that he promised.
Kicking butt and taking names, and in the Middle East, those names are mostly Muhammad.
Promised he was going to, up to and including enforcing laws in the United States that have been on the books for a very, very long time that his predecessor chose simply not to execute. You throw that on top of the fact that he's having this extraordinary success on the world stage, and I just think Democrats from Obama on down are having a heck of a time understanding where they went wrong and how Donald Trump has...
Well, if they don't understand where they went wrong, and they don't, by the way, they don't. They haven't learned anything from 2024. So let them death spiral into hell. That's what they're doing. They're death spiraling into hell. Bye. See you. Bye. Have a nice time. See ya. Hasta la vista. Dying like movie vampires. Did you see Donald Trump was in Egypt yesterday? He's talking about this, the World Peace Summit, I guess. World leaders over there and everything, and he's gathering around, and he was he gave, it was really funny. Keir Starmer, who's just a terrible prime minister in Great Britain, he's an idiot. And Keir Starmer, he acknowledged Keir Starmer, right? And Starmer stepped up to the podium like he was going to talk, and Trump said, no, we're cool. It reminded me of like an usher at a wedding, attempting to raise a glass and raise a toast when the best man does that. It kind of, except for he would be, Keir Starmer, maybe an usher, maybe a bartender. Listen to this.
United Kingdom. Where's United Kingdom? Where's our friend?
There's Keir. Hi, Keir. How you do? Right behind me there.
Is everything going good?
Everything going good? Yeah.
These people all came in like 20-minute notice. And I think it's fantastic. And we have so many others. And just
Keir was gonna say some words, and then Donald tried to say, no, I don't think so. We're not going to let you talk because honestly, you're really not worth it. And then, of course, Donald Trump did something that I thought was kind of remarkable. He acknowledged that a powerful world leader could also be very attractive, and that, of course, is Giorgia Meloni.
We have a young woman who's... I'm not allowed to say it because usually it's the end of your political career if you say it. She's a beautiful young woman. Now, if you use the word beautiful in the United States about a woman, that's the end of your political career.
Yeah, what do you want? I know if you call a man handsome, I'd be like, okay, cool, I'll take that anytime. And you know what? Giorgia Meloni kicks some major butt. She's tough as nails. I don't know how you say nails in Italian, but dang, she is tough as nails. Hour number 2 coming up. John Solomon, Just the News, joins us. Don't go anywhere.
No blind rhetoric.
No talking down to me.
Don't tell me how to think.
Don't tell me how to think. Don't tell me how to think.
I trust NEWSMAX. NEWSMAX.
They don't tell me how to think. They let me decide.
Real news for real people.
now.
You are about to hear the most interesting, informative, thought-provoking, and funny show in America. On air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
This is the Rob Carson Show, hour number 2 of the show. Lots of stuff this hour. John Solomon of Just the News. One of my heroes. There goes my hero. Watch him as he goes. John Solomon, he is like, I don't know, he's a phenom. He's a phenom. And look at all the great journalists that have arisen with the death of the leftist media, even though the leftist media had every opportunity to save itself. And by the way, a complete monopoly on thought when Joe Biden and weaponized the DOJ and the FBI and the DHS against us and called all of our opinions disinformation and misinformation. What they did is they ended up creating a new generation of journalists that never existed before. When Elon Musk bought Twitter and they exposed the Twitter files, and people like Matt Taibbi and Michael Schellenberger emerged, and John Solomon emerged, and Mike Davis emerged. And by the way, Mike Davis is next hour. Oh my God, can you imagine? These are guys, listen, I never followed journalists before. Did you ever follow journalists before? I mean, they ought to have their trading cards. John Solomon should have his own trading card. I would have his rookie card. If I had his rookie card right now, it'd be fantastic. I'm a big fan, man. They're telling the truth. And they are just getting ready to just annihilate some people because of all the nonsense that the Biden administration did. The weaponization of the Justice Department. Mike's got some new news on Tish James. He's got some coarse words for Tish James because Tish is in a lot of trouble. Her tush could end up in jail, and it's a substantial one at that. So anyway, John Solomon, bottom of the hour is what I'm trying to say, among other things. California's banned Glock handguns. This is the dumbest thing ever. This will fall so quickly. Glock handguns, and many of you have a Glock handgun. 65% of law enforcement agencies have a Glock handgun. It is a staple. And yet, Gavin Newsom signed a Responsible Gun Manufacturing Act bill that changed how now a major challenge under the Second Amendment. The ban Glock semi-automatic handguns that are a favorite of American gun owners, including, by the way, Kamala Harris, when she was trying to get some votes last year that were never going to happen because she's a terrible candidate and not a terribly smart person. She last year said she had a Glock. Like, Sure, Kamala Harris has a Glock. Sure.
A hard left turn.
I believe that like I believe Hillary Clinton carries a hot sauce in her purse. Sure.
A hard left turn here, but you recently surprised people when you said that you are a gun owner. And then if someone came into your house...
That was not the first time I've talked about it. That's not the first time I've talked about it.
So what kind of gun do you own, and when and why did you get it?
I have a Glock. And I've had it for quite some time.
Okay, just real quick, tell us what kind. Tell us what this and that. Give us some details on the gun. Now, there's no follow-up question, of course.
Fine. And I mean, look, Bill, my background is in law enforcement.
Yeah.
And
sure.
So there you go.
The longest position you ever held was horizontal.
Have you ever fired it?
Yes. Of course I have.
Of course I have.
At a shooting range?
Yeah.
Yes, of course I have.
I fired it. Of course I fired it. Of course I remember the movie Field of Dreams. Kevin Costner goes to kidnap James Earl Jones, and he's got his hand in his pocket like a gun. And he goes, I got a gun. And James Earl Jones goes, you don't have a gun. Yeah, I got a gun. Well, show me your gun. I'm not going to show you my gun. That's what it reminds me. I shot the Glock with the bullets at the fiery place that they have the cutouts of the people and stuff, and they shoot at them and stuff. I've been there because, I got a background. Oh, sure, yeah. All right, whatever. So anyway, the Glock, even more popular than the AR-15, 2020 alone, industry data shows the Glock produced 81,000 handguns with another 65,000 in 2022. Weapon of choice, the weapon of choice. California law will take effect on July 1st, 2026, banning the sale of new Glock pistols. That ain't gonna last. It's not gonna last. Not going to last at all. Here's Gavin Newsom. I mean, this guy, he's never going to be the president. He's an unlikable individual. It's like if you think that J.B. Pritzker is going to be the mayor or the president of the United States, you're out of your mind. They are unlikable individuals with failed records. They are miserable people, and it ain't going to happen. But here is Gavin Newsom, as they like to call it, talking about Joe Rogan leaving California. And then making some specious arguments about poor people being taxed more than rich people in California. Absolute bunch of crap, by the way. It's an absolute bunch of crap. And he doesn't even mention all of the movie stars that have moved out of California, like George Clooney. George Clooney moved out of California. There are movie stars moving out of California left and right because it's too damn expensive to live there. And by the way, movies are not being shot there, and people are doing their TV shows in places like Ireland because it's cheaper to do that, or going up to Canada and do that. But here is Gavin Newsom lying.
California has a progressive tax structure. That's the real reason a lot of these folks left.
Right.
Come on, let's have this conversation.
Yeah.
They don't like progressive tax. They like regressive tax policy. Where's Rogan live? In one of the most regressive tax states in America that tax poor people more. Poor people are taxed more than the richest 1%.
That is absolute bullcrap.
In Texas, places like Florida. That's what they celebrate.
That's absolute bullcrap because you can't get money from poor people, you see. There's no sense in trying to get money from poor people because they don't have any money, you see.
They are high tax states, but not for them.
Oh, please.
You can't claim California's a high tax state. High tax for who?
Okay, then why are people moving out of California? Why did he move out? You buffoon. Listen to this. Gavin Newsom has approved legislation establishing a new state agency tasked with administrating programs for descendants of slaves, marking the latest steps in his years-long effort to advance reparations, even though California was never a slave state, and nobody alive was a slave, and nobody alive, no white person or whatever is alive, owned slaves or even, descendants of slave owners, for God's sake. It is so utterly ridiculous. And you know why they do it? They want to divide us. They want to divide us. That's what this is all about. They want to divide us. They've created a race war. This is something that they can use now as a cudgel between the races because nobody on the Republican side is ever going to agree with reparations. The Democrats are saying you deserve reparations. People of color are saying we deserve reparations. And then, of course, when the Republicans step in and say you're not going to get reparations, they're immediately racist. Do you see? Do you understand? Do you understand how this works? Same thing has happened in Chicago. You got Donald Trump coming in saying that he's going to rid Chicago of crime. He's going to take care of the crime that has happened because of the Great Society and Democrats. And Democrats are standing in the schoolhouse door because they want to keep people of color in the inner cities ignorant, impoverished, and absolutely angry. And if, say, for instance, they get a pittance and the Republicans come in and say, you know what, we're going to cut welfare. Well, the Republicans are racist. It's the same thing. They're doing the same thing. That's why this reparations thing is happening. It's utterly, utterly ridiculous. It is laughable. It is dangerous. It is a tool of the Democrat Party. Senate Bill 518 creates a Bureau for Descendants of American Slavery within the California Civil Rights Department. This is just absurd. It is so patently absurd and ridiculous. The Bureau will be led by governor-appointed deputy director and organized into 3 main divisions: genealogy, education, and outreach. The law also established privacy requirements for handling genetic information, personal information, explicitly limits public access to that data, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There are a lot of interracial couples and everything out there. It is absolutely, utterly ridiculous. It is meant to divide us. That's the only reason it exists. It is damaging, and this is what they do. This is pretty interesting. This is a viral video I spotted, and you know what I've been saying about Homeboys, Hillbillies, and Hebrews, right? We're coming together. I want you to listen to this, man, because this is something I was saying last year. Because most of us, we work together. I've had, when I was in college, I worked with a guy named George Nelson. He's a black guy. We had the greatest conversations in the world. I never looked at him as a black man. I just looked at him as a man. And he just looked at me as a man. And when I worked selling cars, my boss, Sam Akalagu, it took me 3 years to learn how to say his name. I just looked at him as a man. He's still a great friend of mine. Cheeto Sampat, he was my manager. He's a man of color. He's an Indian man. I never thought of him as that Indian car dealer over there. No, I just looked at him as a man. He was a man. We called him Tough Love because, he was like a drill sergeant for me. keeping me in line. But listen to this.
The MAGA movement is happening with the black folks. People starting to realize, hey, MAGA don't care about your color.
Nope.
MAGA love America.
Yeah.
It's all big family.
Yes,
it ain't
sir.
like Democrat Party, Republican Party. MAGA is we about America.
Yes, sir.
America first. We don't care what your race is.
This is why they're doing reparations. This is why, J.B. Pritzker is standing in the schoolhouse door in Chicago.
Everybody family. It's all about love for your country.
Yes, it is.
It ain't about taking care of all these other countries.
Nope.
It's about taking care of America first.
Yep.
Making America safe.
Yep.
Making America healthy.
And they are afraid. The Democrat Party is afraid that life will get too good under Donald Trump.
And I love it. Making our military strong.
Oh, yes.
Holding people accountable.
Uh-huh.
Draining the swamp.
Draining it.
Y'all letting these people play in y'all faces, man.
Yep.
Man, we see through that.
Yes,
y'all
they do.
brainwashed.
Yes, they are.
Y'all can't see why the government shut down?
Uh-huh.
So y'all really want circumcisions in Rwanda? But anyway.
Jim Gossett.
Homeboys, Hillbillies, and Hebrews are Rob Carson's friends.
That's going to be the title of my book that I'm working on, by the way.
Better believe that they'll be friends to the end.
Yeah, because, we fought together.
A new coalition to promote freedom. They're all about liberty. The perfect trio to combat the left and look out for you and me.
And Hispanics and handgun owners and housewives and homemakers.
Mamas, please let your babies grow up to be homeboys.
Why not? Hell yeah.
Hillbillies and Hebrews is who you should raise. You'll receive nothing but absolute praise.
A lot of happy Hebrews this week.
Homeboys, Hillbillies, and Hebrews are saving this country.
Yeah, we are. Come on.
They love this land and they'll give you a hand. We need to give them our thanks.
You betcha. You betcha.
Homeboys, Hillbillies, and Hebrews are friends to this nation.
We came together to fight for in several wars.
They've got our back when we're under attack. Homeboys, Hillbillies, Hebrews.
Yeah, we got some more news coming out of Chicago and Portland, where they're trying to keep people out to keep the peace and all of that as the Democrats continue the death spiral into hell. Let's take a break and come back, shall we? This is the Rob Carson Show.
Texting enrolls you into...
I'm going to demand a drug test here. I am. No, I really am.
If Joe had to pee in a bottle, if to a drug test he'd submit would prove that he's been shot up with drugs and that he's completely unfit. If Joe had to pee in a bottle, would we find some of Hunter's cocaine? Adderall, some caffeine, and a handful of uppers to stimulate Joe's feeble brain. I would bet a lot of dough if they tested Sleepy Joe, then he'd fail. If Joe had to debate and he had to do it straight, then he'd bail.
He's going to be so jacked up for those debates you watch.
Joe would bail. Trudeau is out, but Trump he was no match. Canada is a country we should snatch. We could take them over before it is too late. They can become our 51st state. Buy Canada, buy Canada. Trump could bring them back, get the country back on track. Buy Canada, buy Canada. Time to name a price is my advice. They have to know higher tariffs will impose. Get off the dime. It's no time to doze. Need to strike a deal. Trump will make you great. Sell to us or you will seal your fate. Buy Canada. Buy Canada. Purchase Greenland too. It is something we must do. Buy Canada. Buy Canada. Where they say, hey, and how's it going? Okay. Well, they have a lot of cats, and they're mostly Democrats like B.B. Harris. They cry when they lose from their left-wing views. I wish they'd spare us. They're cat ladies. Whoa, 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 they're cat ladies. Talking about some miserable ladies who have clearly lost their minds.
People that are pro-life, I hate you.
Got called out by J.D. Vance. When he had the chance, he really nailed them. They're too dumb to know. Kamala and Joe have really failed them. They're cat ladies. Don't have a child, they're cat ladies. Talking about some miserable ladies who are out of their minds.
Got a rejoin here.
Diggy.
Poor little Democrats. Are you guys okay today? I came in to check on you. Every time Trump does something good, you guys spaz out. Would you guys shut up and let him work?
Reaction was that this is a good thing. I think that the governor as well as the mayor should be on board with it just so we can get a bit more of security in Chicago the way that we need.
The crime has dropped since 2024. Do you feel like the city feels safer?
No, not at all. No, especially with the police being defunded.
Well, that is really weird. That's a person of color in Chicago saying that she would like the police and she'd like Donald Trump to send the National Guard there and do what he did in Washington, D.C., which is make it basically a crime-free zone and a wonderful place to live. But you see, the Democrat Party, like the Soviets in East Berlin, want to keep their people needy and angry and in the dark. And in the dark with that wall. That's what they did. They kept you in the dark. Oh, there's nothing going on the other side. Oh, those people are hedonistic. They got nothing. You can stand over here and you can go to the, stand in line for bread, and that's what you're going to get. Because on the other side, they're just awful, whatever. That's what they do. That's what the Democrat Party is doing. They've been doing it forever. This is Don Lemon out in Baltimore, one of my favorite places in the world, and made to look like a fool.
If Donald Trump can hear this, you tell Donald Trump that everybody in Baltimore and as black people, we don't hate them.
Do the president send armed troops here?
Yeah, I think it would be a good deal.
You do?
Yeah.
All right. What about you, sir? President send armed troops here?
Yes.
You think so? Thank you very much. The president sent armed troops here to Baltimore?
Yeah, because I'm a troop.
The president wants to send troops to Maryland, to Baltimore. What do you think?
I mean, I think it would help.
There you go, yeah. It would absolutely help, but the Democrats don't want that because if Donald Trump is successful, it means that Donald Trump is successful, and they're failed. Just real quick, I want to mention something. Gold above $4,100. Yeah, yesterday about $4,100 an ounce. When I started working with Birch Gold, it was under $2,000. That was only a couple years ago. And it's on a stratospheric course, by the way. Right now, buy gold, get free silver. That's right, for every $5,000 purchased from Birch Gold this month in advance of Veterans Day, they're going to send you a free patriotic silver round that commemorates the Gadsden and American flags. If you're watching on the stream, there it is. It's pretty, man. I've been carrying that in my pocket. I've been doing this kind of, rubbing it between my thumb and my index finger like I'm some sort of a private dick, Actually, I'm kind of a public one when you think about it. But anyway, there you go. Look, gold is up over 40% since the beginning of the year. Burnt gold can help you by converting it into an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA and physical gold. You're not spending money here. You're investing money for growth, and they're going to throw in this beautiful coin with a qualified purchase. There you go. You're investing money, and they're throwing you a little bonus. And by the way, silver's over $50 an ounce earlier this week. So what I would do is I suggest just texting my name, Rob, to 989898. Rob to 989898. Get a free info kit. Claim your eligibility for free silver with a qualifying purchase by the end of this month. And you'll get it $4,100. People are literally going to prospecting for gold. I read that story yesterday because it's so valuable. You ever watch those shows? What's like there's some of those shows where they go out and they dig for gold, you know. That was HGTV or Discovery or whatever. But yeah, it's very, very valuable. The Democrat Party is doing everything they can to shut down ICE. By the way, in America's inner cities, because they want illegals there because they lose the count and the census and lose power because nobody else wants to live in those states. So they give impoverished illegals a pittance to stay there so they can maintain power while the rest of their tax base leaves and all of that stuff. And then, of course, now there's a federal judge who said that the ICE facility has to have the fence taken down that protects them from a violent gang. And listen to the absurdity. You've got these Democrats. One of them, this head of the Chicago City Council, channeling Ronald Reagan like a complete D-bag.
Mr. Trump, tear down this fence.
Oh, dear God, shut up.
Mr. Trump, tear down this fence now.
Illinois Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy and former Congressman Luis Gutierrez marched up to the fence.
We demand that I be able to access this facility.
Well, I understand your request, but at this point, I can't authorize that visit.
What about the argument that ICE and Border Patrol are simply enforcing the laws that Congress writes?
We passed the Civil Rights Act in 1964.
Here we go.
And tens of thousands of people were brutalized during the Civil Rights Act, so we could be judged on the content of our character, not the color of our...
Now this is being judged on coming here illegally, and you have to get your butt out. Honestly, how many more graves can you whiz on? Ronald Reagan's and then Martin Luther King Jr.'s. My Lord. You people are so ridiculous. Former Chicago Police Superintendent Gary McCarthy mocked Illinois Democrat Governor J.B. Pritzker for a video in which he claimed to feel safe in a dangerous Chicago neighborhood after Trump cleaned out the criminals. Here is the former super of the Chicago Police.
I got to tell you something very ironic. J.B. Pritzker today put out another video in Little Village talking about how safe he feels. Well, Little Village is primarily a Hispanic neighborhood here in Chicago. Yeah. That district is down about 55% so far this year in murder. Where do you think ICE has been working in Chicago since January?
Yeah.
If he doesn't want the resources...
A lot of those illegal alien criminals did all the murders and stuff.
He shouldn't go to a place where they're succeeding right now. It's really ironic. It just shows how little he knows about the city. But by the same token, listen, I would not want the National Guard if I was a superintendent. And that's probably just my pride. But at the same time, I would welcome the resources because they're coming. I always enjoyed working with the feds, even the FBI. But at the end of the day, if you want to give us resources, I would work with you.
And the people want it, by the way. The people want it. And the Democrat Party doesn't want to expose their corruption and their failure. And NGOs. I've got some news on NGOs and the trillions of dollars they've gotten as our treasury has been absolutely ransacked. John Solomon is next. Don't go anywhere. Hey guys, it's Carson. You know, when I was a kid and I would ride in a car, I would get so car sick and so nauseous, my parents would have to carry me into the house. Recently, I went on a sailboat in Mexico, and I got so motion sick, I was sick all day. Then I found Relief Band. If you get nauseous, you absolutely must get Relief Band. Relief Band is the original anti-nausea wristband that quickly relieves and effectively prevents nausea and vomiting associated with motion sickness, anxiety, migraines, hangovers, morning sickness, chemotherapy, and much more. Relief Band is legitimately a band you wear on your wrist to give you relief from nausea, and you can change the intensity to make it stronger or weaker. It's 100% drug-free, non-drowsy, works quickly before or after symptoms start, and has 0 side effects. Relief Band has sold over 1 million devices and is backed by thousands of 4-star and above reviews, making it a trusted choice for fast-acting, natural nausea relief. Right now, we've got an exclusive offer just for Rob Carson Show listeners. If you go to reliefband.com, use promo code Carson, you'll receive 20% off plus free shipping. So head to reliefband.com, use promo code Carson for 20% off plus free shipping.
Hillary Clinton, concerned about her email scandal, works with a Soros organization to cook up this Russiagate nonsense. They feed it to the intelligence agencies. And they spy, under Barack Obama's presidency, they spy on the political opponent, the Republican, running against Hillary Clinton. He gets elected. They continue the operation. And they launder this intelligence into stuff that was meant to, by the FBI and the CIA, to sideline a presidency of a duly elected president of the United States of America, to sideline him. And that continued. You heard even some people on this committee further that nonsense for 4 years. And then the FBI is involved with pre-bunking the Hunter Biden laptop story because they didn't want him to get elected again.
Yeah.
So they pre-bunked the Hunter Biden laptop story. The American people should have been allowed to make their own judgments from that. They weren't, because the FBI called it a Russian.
I got to tell you, it is remarkable. It's almost an all-you-can-eat buffet of corruption that's been happening for the last 9 years in America. Fortunately, we survived it. Donald Trump became elected, and great journalists like John Solomon weathered the storm of being told that his stories were disinformation and misinformation, and he's become a hero in my book, and he joins us on the NEWSMAX hotline. John Solomon, how you doing, my friend?
I am well honored to be with you, my friend.
Oh, brother, there are so many stories, John. So many. We got Arctic Frost. Arctic Frost, where I heard Christian Welker this weekend say, well, all they did was just look at some phone records. I'm like, are you out of your mind, John? Are you out of your mind?
Well, listen, the CNN team was a big part of that syllogy that you just played out there. I mean, the media, the bureaucrats, and the Democrats together teamed up to deceive the American public time and again. And it was a wash, rinse, repeat cycle. We did it with Russia collusion, and we did it with Ukraine impeachment, and we did it with classified documents. And each time, it's not surprising now to see a CNN trying to make excuses for what happened there. If CNN's phone records had been rifled through those members of Congress are, they would be pretty sore, I'm pretty certain. But in this case, look, and listen, I think at the end of the day, when you get to Arctic Frost in the summer of 2022, it's opened up by Tim Tebow and the FBI, and then it's carried out, and Jack Smith takes it on, and it gets to him. Arctic Frost, at the end of the day, was an enemies list investigation. It's far beyond, all right, we're looking at Donald Trump as a stooge of Vladimir Putin. All right, doesn't check out. Oh, we're looking at an inappropriate call with the Ukraine president. Oh, that was a fine call. And, oh, by the way, Hunter Biden did have a corruption problem. But when you get to January 6th and the aftermath, by the summer of 22, it's clear that the Biden Justice Department realizes Donald Trump, despite all the things that the Democrats have hit him with, is still a viable candidate to win the presidency in 2024. And Arctic Frost becomes, let's map the entire MAGA movement using the forces and tools and capabilities of the government. Wow. And that's why you see 92 groups, 8 lawmakers, 8 senators, 1 House member, and also a president and a vice president having their personal phones seized with the help of Joe Biden by the FBI. Wow. They're trying to come up with every single phone call and map the MAGA world so they know who the enemy is if you're on the left. And I think the way to look at Arctic Frost is that it's the ultimate enemies list investigation.
It really is, and that and it goes along with the Stalinistic approach, which is show me the man and I'll find the crime, and that's what they were doing. They were looking for any slip, anything, and if it would have been, I mean, anything with any of these Republican senators, they would have blown it up, wouldn't they?
Oh, without a doubt. And in fact, they probably didn't find anything, because otherwise we would have certainly known about it. You're going to see a story from me tomorrow that will take this to the next level of what was going on. What did that mapping look like, and what civil liberties might have been involved in this? And I think you're going to see a massive opposition research enterprise going on between the FBI and Democrats in Congress, something that I don't think our founding fathers ever could have imagined. We're going to make these documents public in the morning. But Arctic Frost takes it to a whole new level when people see what was going on. And there are going to be some real questions about what are the limits to gathering phone records, gathering bank records without judicial review. I think there is a backdoor that the left has been using the last few years to bypass the normal protections that we assume we have when we get a warrant or we get a subpoena. Hey, there's been some judicial review. there is a place where they weren't getting judicial review, but they were piercing the privacy of everyday Americans in large scale. I mean, very large scale. And I think that's going to be a sign for all of us to go back and say, hey, we got to look at something here. Maybe the FBI lost its independence. Maybe it became a research arm alongside of Congress and the Democratic Party. And I think Arctic Frost becomes that perfect storm where all the lessons, all the tools, all of the ambitions of the Democratic Party, the deep state, and the mainstream media, all suffering from Trump derangement syndrome, where they come together and do things that I don't think our founding fathers ever could have imagined in an earlier generation of America.
Well, that's what I said. I said that they were the abuses and usurpations the founders could have never imagined, John. And it started with declaring our speech disinformatia, like Joseph Stalin. Dear God in heaven, John, when that was happening, I mean, in real time, you had to be going as a journalist, what the hell? I mean,
well, they were calling my stories disinformation.
I know.
They called it conspiracy theorists. A guy who had won a lot of journalism awards, worked for the AP, the Washington Post, cracked the front page of the Washington Post. Suddenly, I must have lost my mind because they were telling me my stories are wrong. It turned out all my conspiracy theories came true. But what we saw was this sort of very powerful cycle of cancel culture. It began with ridicule, all right, Jon Stewart making fun of conservatives. That's fine. That's in the realm of American political spirit. Then it became, let's cancel you via censorship. Then let's cancel you via debanking. Let's cancel you via maybe getting you fired at your job. Then let's prosecute you. And if that doesn't work, I really fear what we saw with Charlie Kirk and the 2 assassination attempts on President Trump. We're moving to a mindset, at least among some radicals, that if those don't succeed, maybe we try to execute you. And I figure this cycle has been creeping along without much resistance, and for the first time, we're seeing real-time pushback on Antifa. You saw how quickly the Benny Johnson threat was investigated and the man arrested. I think people are starting to take this escalation seriously, and that is a good thing for America, no matter what your politics are.
You know, John, I've been thinking about this, and the left has been conducting, and the Democrat Party, a civil war with plausible deniability. They have soldiers who have produced casualties, who have caused billions in dollars in damage. They have basically uniformed soldiers. They are Antifa. They have a uniform. We saw them on January the 6th. We saw them on Donald Trump's inauguration day, for God's sake. We saw them the summer of 2020. And they are well funded. It is a spider web of funding, but it really has. I believe it has been a civil war to take down the country as founded with plausible deniability. What are your thoughts on that?
You know, the last time I was with Charlie Kirk, 2 weeks before he died, I was in Colorado with him at an event. I was one of his keynotes alongside Scott Jennings. We had a great night, very profound conversations, and I said, you know, we're really fighting to save our country, and that there's been a war on truth. That if they could eviscerate the basic truth in America, that there's more than men and women, or, you know, parents don't really have the rights that they believe they have over their children, they ultimately will eviscerate the ultimate truth, which is that our Maker, our Creator, endowed us with certain inalienable rights. And people on the left ridiculed me when we talked about that, but then a few weeks later, Tim Kaine came out and said, yeah, no, we don't believe rights come from God anymore. They come from your government.
Yes.
Kind of proved it. But Charlie said something back during the conversation that I think was really profound. And that was that we're in a war to preserve Western civilization. That's what is going on in the far left, whether you're in Ireland, South Korea, Great Britain, America, is to eradicate the values that made Western society a free society, a society based on liberty, a society based on rational respect for each other, and eviscerate that so that we can go back to some sort of government-controlled system. And I thought Charlie's prescience in seeing this is bigger than even America, that it was a Western civilization fight. I think it's a great way of looking at it. Whether it's civil war or not yet, I don't know yet. But I will say this: war on truth has been the beginning salvo here.
Now, John, can we take a break? Because I want to talk about some other things. Letitia James. Please. I want to talk about Jack Smith. I want to talk about Joe Biden and why, you know, certainly with Ukraine, what's going on there. You uncovered some amazing stuff.
Antifa denial too. There's a sudden denialism that Antifa exists. I'm finding you humorous.
All of that's coming up. Let's take a break and come back. John Solomon on the Rob Carson Show. Stick around.
for county.
They are strictly principled anti-fascists. And what they see in the Trump administration and what they see happening in this country, they see the neo-fascism that we see. And they've taken a principled stand to stand against white supremacists and white nationalists wherever they may show up.
It says it right in the name, Antifa, anti-fascism, which is what they were there fighting. Listen, there's no organization is perfect. There was some violence.
I think that a lot of people recognize that when pushed, self-defense is a legitimate response to white supremacist and neo-Nazi violence.
The problem is to equate the violence in reaction against bigotry with the bigotry itself is to misunderstand the fact that when you go to cancer treatment, the radiation is tough treatment, but it is...
That's Democrat pundits and whatnot saying that Antifa existed a couple years ago, back in about in 2020. They admitted it existed. When the movement started to kind of sprout wings, like Satan laughing spreads his wings, they admitted it. Now they're saying it doesn't exist. Now they're saying it's like, oh my God, what's real is the Proud Boys. Proud Boys didn't leave billions of dollars in damage. John Solomon, Just the News on the NEWSMAX hotline. Yeah, now they're acting like you would have more evidence of finding unicorns and Bigfoot than Antifa.
It's pretty amazing. Especially when you had an Antifa leader who recently fled the country, went to a foreign country to get out of here. If there isn't such a group, why is there a leader fleeing? I mean, there's this sort of silliness that we've seen, the media propaganda. They're really hurting the American public by just wasting our time on this nonsense. There is a group, there is a movement. It doesn't conform to some of the strictures of normal groups, but that doesn't mean it isn't real. And that denialism disturbs the American public because we should be able to address it. We should be able to fix it, make our country safer. And that's good for both Democrats and Republicans. The news media is not doing the American people favor with some of this silly denialism.
What is the point, John, honestly, of the media not forsaking its journalistic curiosity? I mentioned this before because they did it in the Soviet Union to stay out of prison. They do it in North Korea to stay out of prison. They toe the party line to stay out of prison, John. We have the first bloody amendment, the greatest thing in the history of the world. I mean, my God in heaven, it should be the most wonderful thing for a journalist, and they have forsaken it. Why, John?
That's a great question. Listen, some of the greatest advocates for censorship in 2019, 2021 were members of the media whose entire profession rests on the First Amendment. It does show you how far afoot journalists have become in the 21st century. Certainly in the era since Donald Trump came down the golden escalator. I think that the media has lost its way, lost its compass. There's a lot of great journalism that could be occurring and did occur over the history of this country. The last 10 years, it's been a rather sparse production of good journalism. A lot of bad journalism and a lot of distrust, and that's why the American people are very discerning. No longer take the media that seriously. I mean, I think less than 33% of Americans actually believe what they read in the media. That is a real problem for that industry.
Well, John, I mean, look at what you've done. Could you imagine? Would you have told yourself 10 years ago that you would be an autonomous content producer gathering hundreds of millions of views on your own? Could you have imagined that 10 years ago, John?
No.
Yeah, I know.
No, but it's funny. The Founding Fathers always imagined in this great American experiment that the solution to every problem was competition. If you didn't like what the media was doing, good. If you didn't like what your politician was doing, go run against them. They created this enduring system, and competition often creates the greatest solutions in America. It's how we've gone through the Industrial Revolution, how we've gone through the computer revolution, how we'll go through the AI revolution. And in media right now, most of the big truths of the last decade have come from the new media, not the legacy media. And I think that's a remarkable thing, and it shows how wise our founding fathers were.
Well, you got Jake Tapper, who denied Joe Biden's obvious cognitive decline and then wrote a book at it. It's so stupid, absurd. Before we wrap things up, John, Letitia James, what's going on with her? I know. I saw Mike Davis, we have him on next hour, and he's basically saying Letitia's going to go to jail. What do you think? What do you think's happened with Letitia?
Well, listen, the jurors are going to look at this. It does appear that, like Adam Schiff, which we also chronicled, she was claiming two properties at the same time as your primary, which creates a real problem. If that is the case, jurors are going to evaluate that. They're going to say, hey, should this have been a civil matter? Should this be a criminal matter? Was this just retribution? Or, wait, what did Letitia James tell us when she was pursuing Donald Trump? No one's above the law.
Yes.
I think those no one above the law comments that she made when she was pursuing Donald Trump going to come back to boomerang. And I think a lot of people are underestimating what Lindsay Halligan has as a case. I also think with James Comey, everyone's, on the James Comey martyr tour right now in the legacy media. But when people see the evidence of what shows that he authorized the leak, it's going to be a lot harder for him to stand by that testimony. And I think as time goes on, facts are going to become a very stubborn thing in both of those cases.
John, I can't tell you how much I appreciate your work. You're so well spoken, and I just think it's kind of interesting that we are both at this, at this place in our lives, and we're really just kind of beginning to really blossom as me as a performer and a commentator. You as this incredible journalist. Always looking forward to Just the News, justthenews.com. John Solomon, thank you, my brother. I appreciate your time today.
Great to be with you as well.
All right, let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. All righty. God dang it. I want to talk to him for a couple hours, right? I mean, just... John Solomon, he's my hero. I met him at CPAC, and I was like, wow. And he listens to the show. That was what really blew me away. I'm like, no way. Yeah, cool. Let me just figure out. I got something I want to line up here for the other side of the break here. Jim Gossett had some new comedy for me. So I want to get that ready. If you'll excuse me one moment. I've got to focus on something. Yeah, there we are. There we go. Hold on one second. Here.
Just sit right.
Oh. Is that a hint as to new comedy that Jim Gossett has done? Yeah, it is. It is. We got that coming up on the other side. Let's see what we got here. We got, let's see. Pete's watching on YouTube. I enjoy your program. Love the song Blessings. There you go. Thank you very much. Doug says 220 million Americans, 473 million guns stood between Trump and jail. There you go. Good for you. Lots of good thoughts. Lots of good thoughts in the chat. Round Pony. Hello, Round Pony. And, Buck Ottenberry. Becky, what's going on today? How are you? You guys are talking on Rumble. Obviously, John is a journalist. Mike Davis, next hour, has some things to say about Letitia James, and he's predicting that she's going to have to look good in orange because she's broken some serious laws. So we got that coming up here. Let me go ahead and get this, Mike Davis. Yeah. Let me get this ready. Okay. Lindsay Halligan. All right. Let me make sure. How much time we got here? Okay. Prani Yuprachat, good to see you as well. Robert Lawson over there on the Facebook chat. Growing by leaps and bounds, by the way. Growing by leaps and bounds every single day. Here we go.
Yeah, those indictments we just saw for Comey and Tish James are the appetizer indictments. And the big one, the main course, is going to be the conspiracy against rights under 18 USC Section 241. I've publicly called for this for the last 3+ years since the Mar-a-Lago raid. Remember this with the Russian collusion hoax. The Democrats made this up to help Hillary Clinton's campaign, to cover up her corruption, and to take out presidential candidate.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of things. There are a lot of balls in the air, and a lot of them are going to be in a vice, by the way. Brandon from Jim Gossett.
Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale of a woman oh so bright. The deep state cannot scare her off. She's not afraid to fight. When Halligan goes to court, the grand jury says yes. She gets an indictment. She asks for nothing less. She asks for nothing less. The media is getting rough. Lindsay they attack. But she isn't backing down. She's staying right on track. She's staying right on track. She's got more targets on her list. Folks that she'll take down. Like Letitia and Jim Comey. Bolton.
is coming next.
He's coming next.
Jack Smith, watch out. Chris Ray, he'll pay. You're on Halligan's list.
There you go. That is brand new from Jim Gossett. U.S. Attorney Lindsay Halligan expected to drop more charges against serial liar Letitia James, John Bolton for having classified documents, against pencil neck Adam Schiff for mortgage fraud, Fonnie Willis, also Lisa Cook, John Brennan. The fan meet feces, feces meet fans. This is something we've waited for a very long time to see, and they're trying to dispense Lindsay Halligan, I guess, because she's attractive or something. But anyway, it's not going to work. This is what we've been waiting for. This is the moment we have been waiting for, and it's about time. The abuses and usurpations, you remember me saying about the abuses and usurpations that we experienced were worse than the Founding Fathers ever imagined, and there is going to be payback. There is going to be payback. I want to help out Jim Gossett, by the way. I've already played 2 of his great songs just from today. So go to patreon.com, Jim Gossett Comedy, patreon.com, Jim Gossett Comedy. Just give him $10 a month, if you would, and he'll send you 2 parodies every day. All I ask you to do is just share them with others and say you heard it on the Rob Carson Show, because we're the only show in America that is doing leading edge opinion, comedy, and entertainment. That's it. Walking in Rush's footsteps, trying to fill his shoes. Last hour of the show with Mike Davis coming up. Don't go anywhere.
This is the right choice for Maryland.
on it now.
You are about to hear the most interesting, informative, thought-provoking, and funny show in America. On air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
This is the Rob Carson Show, hour number 3 of the Rob Carson Show. One of my favorite people, the most fascinating people around, Mike Davis, Article 3 Project, is going to be joining us at the bottom of the hour. And I had the wonderful opportunity to meet him a couple of weeks ago in Washington, D.C. I feel very blessed to be here and to get to meet him. And because he is a fighter. He is bringing lawsuits. He is uncovering corruption like you would not believe. And there is hell to pay for those who have been so corrupt, who've gone after Donald Trump, who've gone after us. And have perpetrated acts of violence, untold acts of violence and destruction on the class of 1968's last dying throes, attempting to overturn the country, attempting to basically remake America as founded. I don't know if he does, but Barack Obama said that he wanted to fundamentally change America. And then his first year in office, he put a Mao Zedong Christmas ornament on the Christmas tree, even though he was an avowed atheist and communist. It was a wink and a nod to the left saying, I'm in, baby. I am in like Flynn, baby. And it's not working. It's not working so well. So we got that coming up on the show. And then also, this weekend. So despite everything, right? So Donald Trump has 7 peace treaties, stopped possibility of a nuclear war between India and Pakistan, peace in Israel right now. By the way, Hamas is FAFOing. They're FAFOing. Hamas is FAFOing. I just say, keep going, guys. Keep going, Hamas. Their hubris, their pride, and their fanaticism is going to get them killed. And as far as I'm concerned, good. Bye. Bye-bye, Hamas. Bye-bye, Hamas. Because honestly, I'm not over the fact that they held these people hostage, that they committed those acts on the 7th of October, that they still are in possession of all the bodies of the hostages, the torture that they could have did endure. I don't even care. I want them off the planet. I want Hamas off the planet. And the people who don't want to move into the modern age and modern era and forsake their hatred of Israel, screw them. Bye. Go somewhere else. Get out. Get out. But Gaza's making a comeback, and Hamas is messing around, and they're going to find out. They're going to find out. So, kind of interesting, J.D. Pritzker is trying to keep Donald Trump out of Chicago. So is Brandon Johnson. Democrat mayors and governors are trying to keep the federal government out of these states and these cities because they've been padding their pocketbooks with money from us, whether that be for illegals, whether that be for homeless agencies, whatever. They've been taking our money and not fixing anything. They've been taking our money and not fixing anything. And I think this is part of why J.B. Pritzker is trying to keep Donald Trump from making Chicago safe. The Democrat Party doesn't want anything fixed because if things get fixed, then all of these NGOs lose their money. All of these political contributions disappear. All of these people who made lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of money, trillions of dollars, that all goes away. When Joe Biden lost the election, or Kamala Harris, became the candidate, when she lost the election, Joe Biden sent out $63 billion in green energy nonsense to people, including $2 billion to Stacey Abrams, who was a good Marxist in good standing, had no idea what she was going to do with the money, but they made her a billionaire. Her little NGO only had a couple $100 in the checking account. But this is how profoundly corrupt our government became. It's just absolutely despicable. And another thing is, J.B. Pritzker is trying to keep from going to jail. I think there's a lot of that as well. This is something I found online. The NGO industrial complex. Illinois lawmakers have discovered that Democrats laundered $1 billion into politically connected NGOs. Here are some of those lawmakers.
I'm Representative Brad Halbrook of the 107th District of Shelbyville. Today we're turning our attention to a staggering amount of taxpayer money, over $1 billion, that's being funneled into political connected non-government organizations or NGOs.
Yeah.
This wasn't uncovered by government watchdogs, but concerned Illinoisans and Republican legislators that our grassroots effort we call DOJ, or the Department of Government Efficiency.
There were trillions of dollars sent through NGOs by our federal government, and did you notice nothing ever got fixed? Did you notice that? We spend trillions of dollars. They doubled the education department, their budget. They hired 87,000 IRS agents. They expanded the size of government by like 60% with COVID. Nothing got better because they were looting our treasury.
Before we show you where the money's going, we need to ask one simple question.
What's that?
Why is government funding NGOs at all?
Because they can.
First, there's no transparency. NGOs aren't subject to the Freedom of Information Act or FOIA.
Yes.
Taxpayers can't see how their money is being spent.
No.
Just last week, a lawsuit was filed because the state refused to release a contract detailing how much public money was being sent to specific groups.
Yeah.
Second, the budget language is vague and on purpose. These grants are buried under broad terms with little or no detail.
Yeah.
Lawmakers are being asked to approve funding without knowing.
You got to wonder how these Democrats go to Congress and get so stinking filthy rich, right? Making $170,000 or $270,000 a year.
How the money will be used or even who's getting it.
Wow.
Third, the human services budget has been hijacked. It used to mean helping seniors, helping single mothers, and people with disabilities.
No.
Now it's packed with programs for politically aligned groups offering vague services like parent mentoring, immigrant support, LGBTQ advocacy, and many are race or identity-based initiatives that serve political agendas.
Yeah, they looted the Treasury and the states and federally. Why do you think that Gavin Newsom can account for $26 billion in spending on homelessness while the state's homeless population has gone up dramatically, leading the country right now? Why do you suppose they're spending $130 billion on high-speed rail, which is what? I mean, like 4 times what they had budgeted for it, and they haven't laid a single track yet. Duh. And I saved this because this is actually happening in Connecticut as well. Connecticut. You think Connecticut, cute little state, everything's all fine and dandy, everything. But no, there's a lot of corruption there too.
I remember as a kid growing up in this state, used to hear the word corrupt-a-kid. And unfortunately, we're moving back towards that trend. Because essentially what's going on here is the candy store is open in the state of Connecticut with our state employees, with different organizations that are receiving these grants within our state budgets and these line items. And the Democrats and the one-party majority rule they have, and this absentee governor is doing nothing about it. You have Democrats that literally herniate themselves in this building to get in front of a microphone every time there's a potential federal cut that isn't even finalized. But meanwhile, they have no problem handing out $5,000 to Jeep Enthusiasts of America. They have no problem handing out $250,000 to organizations that aren't even registered with the state of Connecticut. This is taxpayer money. This is hard-earned money.
They've been looting state and federal treasuries for years, and they've gotten away with it. If it weren't for us meddling kids. This is J.B. Pritzker. J.B. Pritzker, he's going to fall well, if he does fall, it's going to cause cracks in the concrete and everything. But when it's exposed and we all know Illinois, dear God, of course it's corrupt. Are you kidding me? But here's J.B. Pritzker. He wants to hide voter data now. Why does he want to do that? Well, do you suppose maybe corrupt elections got his rear end in office?
Another thing that's happened, and very few people paying attention, you probably are, which is they demanded, the DOJ did, our voter data. Not just ours in Illinois. Every state's voter data.
Yeah, they want to see how many illegals are on the voter rolls.
Why? They won't tell us why.
Because they also want to see how many people who are registered shouldn't be registered, how many dead people are voting, how many absentee ballots are being stolen.
And actually, what they seem to be looking for, remember back to the 2020 elections, is they want to be able to find voter fraud.
Yeah. 100%. Thanks for answering the questions. I do appreciate that. Yeah, there's that. And then, earlier this year, I don't know if you know this, Elon Musk, what he did is he created this DOJ committee, and what they were going to do is go in through the government, and they were going to find all of this government corruption and all this money that was being stolen, essentially. And what did the left do? They had massive rallies around the country every week for a month or so. I went to one of them in Kansas City, out of whole cloth, people coming out screaming profanities, people burning Teslas, people vandalizing Teslas, saying Elon Musk is a Nazi. And guess what they're going to do this weekend? A no Kings protest. A no Kings protest. And in some municipalities, you're using tax dollars for it. And this is going to get very big and very ugly. This weekend is going to get very big and very ugly because they are doing everything they can to cover up their massive, massive, massive corruption. This is Sean Duffy, Transportation Secretary, talking about the No Kings protest, which, by the way, is not organic, is bought and paid for by people like George Soros.
But again, the No Kings protest, Maria, really frustrating. I mean, this is part of Antifa, paid protesters. It begs the question, who's funding it? But, Democrats want to wait for a big rally of a No Kings protest, when the bottom line is, who's running the show in the Senate? Chuck Schumer's not running the show. The No Kings protesters or organizers are running the show. Is AOC threatening a primary against Chuck Schumer? Is she running the show? But you need a strong leader in the Senate to take control and make decisions. And Chuck Schumer's blown.
This is after Donald Trump just unveiled a historic peace deal in the Middle East, after he's brokered 6 other major peace deals, after he shut down the border, after the economy is steaming forward, $17 trillion in investment. I can go on and on and on, and yet they feel like they need to have a No Kings protest made up of whole cloth, absolutely nonsensical, bought and paid for, because they recognize that in Donald Trump, they see their doom. That's why they tried to put him in jail. That's why they tried to take his fortune. That's why they tried to take him off the ballot. That's why they tried to murder him. That's why they did it. That's why 90-plus conservative organizations were surveilled by the FBI. That's why the FBI went after 8 Republican senators, for God's sake. They're in a death spiral to hell, and they will do anything to stop us from finding out what they've done to us. On the way, Peter Schweitzer talking about Antifa. The ultimate response to those who say, Antifa doesn't exist. Oh, yes, it does. It's big and well-funded. That's coming up. This is the Rob Carson Show. Buy gold and get...
If you're illegal alien in the United States, this message is for you. You cannot hide from ICE.
Avoiding ICE ain't easy. Illegals are so sleazy. Tom Holman set them straight. To ICE should be reporting. You should be self-deporting. Leaving will be your fate. Back home is where you're headed. That's safe to say, and you won't make a stop along the way. No longer can you stay here. You've seen your final day here, 'cause you've committed crime. Avoiding ICE ain't easy. It is far from easy. Avoiding ICE ain't easy anytime.
Well, he's a turncoat, he's a traitor, a sour grapes Trump hater. He had the goods on Joe Biden. The evidence didn't hiding. He's the left-wing media's overweight star. Ooh. Bill Barr. Can't stand Bill Barr. I am not sold. The truth about Jeffrey Epstein and Bill Barr has not been told. It was bizarre. Did it go too far? Oh, I hate Bill Barr.
Yeah, so I mean, Antifa, there's not an organization per se named Antifa. It's a network of radical organizations that, as you pointed out, are Marxist. They're oftentimes sympathetic to Islamist causes. And as we demonstrated in our research that we presented to the president, yes. They are heavily funded. Some of that funding comes from sources in the United States. You have advisory firms like Arabella that are advising groups like the Tides Foundation that we point out have sent money to organizations that are involved in violent protests. There were those organizations, some of those organizations were funded by the Tides Foundation. Yep. So you have these radical progressive groups in the United States that are funding, in some instances, violent organizations. And to be clear here, Mark, I'm not talking about groups that just talk about radical things. I'm talking about groups that are actually involved in violence in our streets.
Yeah.
So you have the domestic side.
Yeah. That's Peter Schweizer. And this has never been organic. It's always been bull crap. And going to have to start cracking some heads. And, of course, we leave that up to the federal authorities to do. But they're planning on this weekend, this No Kings thing. They want to make this like this is going to be big. They want to do some damage this weekend. So I would recommend that you just stay home, let the federal authorities and local authorities handle it. There may be a point where Hillbillies, Homeboys, and Hebrews have to defend our country because this bleep has to end. We told you November the 5th, Daddy was coming home, and the kids are going to get a spanking. And that's what I am hoping is happening. And Donald Trump is using the DOJ to go after these funding organizations using RICO statutes. And I would love to see George Soros extradited, indicted, military tribunal, and then lined up against the wall. Yeah, hell yes. It's insurrection, kids. It's insurrection. Margaret in Bowling Green, Kentucky. I used to call Kentucky my home. I lived in Fort Thomas. I loved it, man. I loved me some Kentucky. Margaret, my God, I love Kentucky. I do. But welcome to the show, Margaret. Glad to have you on. Your thoughts today?
Oh, yeah, every day I keep our country and our president and the government, and I pray for them every day.
Yeah.
For God's protection, because it's so obvious to anyone willing to see.
Yeah.
The left is trying to goad us in some sort of a civil war.
Yeah.
Maybe not in the traditional sense, North versus South. That's not it. It's ideological.
Well, it's already been going on. Margaret, it's been going on. They've already got billions of dollars worth of damage and casualties and deaths and everything. Yeah, and it's a war. It's a civil war by proxy with plausible deniability. But the problem is we're in charge now, Margaret.
I know, and we've got to. When I say they're goading us into it,
yeah.
It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy for them. Okay, fascist.
Yeah.
Well, then we're going to do something outrageous, which is going to cause us to react.
Yeah.
See, I told you, they're fascists.
Yeah. Well, what's going to happen is Donald Trump is going to use the Insurrection Act, and he's going to put this bleep down. He's going to put it down. That's it. It's going to happen. And I hope that big fat J.B. Pritzker goes to jail. And I don't put it past Donald Trump to put J.B. Pritzker in jail. And you know who's going to complain about it? Nobody.
Put his fat butt in jail. The people who follow this crap have been lied to.
Yep.
My fellow Americans on that side, I want you to open your eyes.
Yes.
You have been lied to.
Of course you have.
You have been tricked.
Yeah.
It's generational. Yeah. The Democrats have taken the fathers out of the home.
Yeah.
You don't need a dad in the home because we will take care of your rent.
Taking God out of the public square, taking God out of school.
That happened when I was in school. I remember.
Yeah.
I remember when they had to take them down.
Yeah. Well, you know, Margaret, here's the deal. Margaret, it's if you want to call it a civil war, you can. I gotta hang up this phone here, because that's what's happened. But you know, you talk about what they did in the Civil War. You may recall they also divided families, and we've got that right now. We've got that right now happening. It happened in my family, for God's sake. But it's not going to work because we are better armed intellectually and physically, and we're in power, and we're going to put this down.
We are.
Don't fret about it, girl.
I'm in the country, so I'm a little isolated, you know?
Yes.
But they're not ever going to win this.
Hold on, I'm on the air. Yeah, they're not going to win. We are intellectually, we are better armed intellectually and physically. All we need to do is get through this, and we've got the right person in charge. And when I trust
him.
I do too. Listen, I got to run. Thanks for the phone call. I got to run.
No problem. Have a good day.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it. Sorry about that. Here is Peter Schweitzer with the money that's happening in our country coming from foreign sources.
You also have the foreign side, Mark. There's a American billionaire named Roy Singham who sold his business. It was called ThoughtWorks for about $1 billion, moved to Beijing, China, which is where he lives now. He's very close to the CCP. He counts them amongst his friends. He goes to Chinese Communist Party events. He's friends with their propagandists, and he funds groups in the United States.
Yep. The money's coming from abroad. It is meant to take down America. And I would venture to say there are many people in the country who are doing this for a reason. I do believe Barack Obama said that he wanted to fundamentally change America. You think this isn't happening?
And these are groups like the Freedom Road Socialist Organization, the Party for Socialism and Liberation. And these are pro-Chinese, anti-American, and they lead violent protests. It could be over Black Lives Matter. It could be over the issues in the Middle East. It could be over law enforcement issues. It doesn't matter. And so you have these organizations that are not organic per se.
No.
They are funded and they are organized.
Yes.
And we think it's important not only for the administration to know, but to investigate them for possible criminal conduct.
Yeah, and people are going to go to jail for it. And they're going to try some crap this weekend with this idiotic No Kings protest, but it's going to fail because they are failing, and they're in a death spiral to hell, and Donald Trump is winning, and we're winning. Okay, have faith. Okay, evil is not going to win. We got them on their heels. We'll take a break and come back. Mike Davis comes up next. Don't go anywhere. Hey guys, it's Carson. You know, when I was a kid and I would ride in a car, I would get so car sick and so nauseous, my parents would have to carry me into the house. Recently, I went on a sailboat in Mexico and I got so motion sick, I was sick all day. Then I found Relief Band. If you get nauseous, you absolutely must get Relief Band. Relief Band is the original anti-nausea wristband that quickly relieves and effectively prevents nausea and vomiting associated with motion sickness, anxiety, migraines, hangovers, morning sickness, chemotherapy, and much more. Relief Band is legitimately a band you wear on your wrist to give you relief from nausea, and you can change the intensity to make it stronger or weaker. It's 100% drug-free, non-drowsy, works quickly before or after symptoms start, and has 0 side effects. Relief Band has sold over 1 million devices and is backed by thousands of 4-star and above reviews, making it a trusted choice for fast-acting, natural nausea relief. Right now, we've got an exclusive offer just for Rob Carson Show listeners. If you go to reliefband.com, use promo code Carson, you'll receive 20% off plus free shipping. So head to reliefband.com, use promo code Carson for 20% off plus free shipping.
Trump and Elon, on each other's neck they have their heel on. Wish that they would make up. How I hate to see them break up. Try to understand it. So much confusion. Does this mean their partnership has come to a conclusion? Trump and Musk, they've been feuding from the dawn till dusk. Wish this could be mended. I'd hate to see, don't want to see, I'd hate to see their friendship ended.
Arizona and Corona, all the lies about them they've been telling you. How did they win it, the freaking Senate, when the votes that they received were very few? Don't catch the stupid, don't buy their BS, that climate change is real, inflation's not. Don't catch the stupid, don't believe them, because distraction and diversion's all they got. We all know that Hurricane Ian was the result of global warming. Russian collusion led to confusion. January 6th is a smokescreen. The new Green Deal is a disguise steal, like their mandate forcing you to take vaccine. Don't catch the stupid, you just can't do it, that in women's sports men should compete. They're teaching sex ed in kindergarten. Their destructive policies we must defeat. Like wear a mask, don't wear a mask. Statues have fallen, it's so appalling to ignore Hunter's laptop and his theft. Don't catch the stupid, reject their nonsense. Everything is stupid on the left.
I want to say to Trump U.S. Attorney Lindsey Halligan, hats off to you for bringing this indictment, because there are a lot of people who are saying the evidence was not there. And after we read this indictment, it is very clear that Big Tish committed mortgage fraud when she lied about whether she lied about living in this Virginia home. She has to live in a New York home under New York statute because she's the attorney general. So, Big Tish, you better lawyer up, because it looks looks like you're going to the big house.
You know, yeah, baby. If Mike Davis were a cigarette, he'd have no filter. I'm telling you, he is unbelievable. Mike Davis, Article 3 Project, one of my heroes, joins us on the NEWSMAX hotline. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great, and thanks for having me on.
Oh, dude, I got to tell you, there's so much stuff going on right now. You were unfiltered with Rob Finnerty last night on NEWSMAX, and you have been unabashed about what you think is possible with regard to Big Tish, and as you like to call her, and mortgage fraud. What do you know, and what do you think, man?
Lindsay Halligan is the Trump U.S. attorney, as I said in that prior hit. She's an all-star. She is firing on all cylinders already. She's already brought the indictments against two lawfare Democrats, James Comey, for lying to Congress and obstructing a congressional investigation, and then Big Tish James for committing bank fraud and making false statements to a financial institution, allegedly, on both of those. But this is much-needed accountability. And I want to say this. Why did the people in the Eastern District of Virginia think that there was not evidence to indict Big Tish when the evidence is overwhelming?
Yeah.
That Big Tish lied about having a second home. It was not her second home. She never intended it to be her second home. She apparently bought this home as an investment property and then rented it to her degenerate great niece who was running from the law.
Yeah.
So that's what the evidence shows. And when she did this, she got a more favorable interest rate, more favorable loan rate, more favorable insurance. And that makes, when you do that, you undermine the financial system for everyone, because that means that everyone else who gets a mortgage the right way has to assume the risk of the people who are getting the mortgage the fraudulent way, because investment properties have higher rates of defaults than a primary or secondary residence.
Yes, and she saved a lot of money. I think Rob Schmidt said like 8% or something interest rate when you compound that annually. My God in heaven, that's a lot of money, man.
Yeah, it's like 0.8%, but it's still a significant amount of money. And remember this is the same Big Tish James who said that nobody's above the law, and even small lies need to be prosecuted because they lead to bigger lies. And she's the one who went after President Trump and said that Trump overvalued Mar-a-Lago to get a more favorable loan. And she said that Trump overvalued Mar-a-Lago, which is worth close to $1 billion, if not more. And Trump said that he lied to sophisticated Wall Street banks who he paid back in full on time as agreed with interest, because she said Mar-a-Lago was worth only $18 million.
Yes.
I mean, that's just asinine. Just go to Redfin or go to Zillow and see that this is 20 acres of the most premier real estate in the world in Palm Beach. Is the only property, Mar-a-Lago is the only property that touches both the Atlantic Ocean and the Intracoastal Waterway. A tennis court at Mar-a-Lago is worth more than $18 million. Yet Tish James teamed up with this Democrat activist Judge Arthur Engeron and tried to bankrupt Trump for mortgage fraud. So, look, I think people say, oh, retribution. First of all, the facts are there. This was a grand jury in the Eastern District of Virginia, which is full of government workers and other Democrats. And so they found there was enough evidence to charge her. But separate from that, I think retribution is a crucial component of justice, retributive justice. We've had it for 4,000 years. 5,000 years, right? And the whole point is it makes the victims whole and it deters future criminal misconduct. So, Big Tish, lawyer up, sweetheart. We were going to have to increase the prison budget to feed her, so it's not cruel and unusual punishment. But we need to put Big Tish's big ass in prison.
You know, Mike, the thing is, you talked about the weaponization. Do you remember when the DOJ was obviously being weaponized against Donald Trump with 91 counts after he announced his presidency, with 34, felony convictions, with all of the massive corruption of the judges and their ties to the Democrat Party, and I can go on and on. Now we know Jack Smith's absolute corruption as well. While all of this is happening in real time, you began to hear that the media say, "Oh, Donald Trump gets in office, there will be retribution," because they knew Mike. They knew what the Justice Department was doing against Donald Trump, against traditional Catholics, against CRT parents, against all of these groups like Charlie Kirk's organization, TPUSA, going after them, surveilling them, all of this. The media knew this in real time, and that's why they started saying, oh, Donald Trump might do retribution. And when that happened, Donald Trump stopped saying retribution during his campaign. Did you notice that?
Well, I'll say this. You just have to ask retribution for what? Well, what did the other side do wrong? If there's retribution, they're admitting what they did was wrong because they're talking about retribution board. Again, A, I believe in retribution, as we just discussed.
So do I.
B, President Trump and his allies very publicly campaigned on the fact that we're going to bring much-needed accountability for this republic-ending, unprecedented lawfare against President Trump. His top aides like Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro, who went to prison for constitutional executive privilege going back 250 years to George Washington. They're trying to disbar Jeff Clark right now in the D.C. courts. They went after and persecuted Trump's January 6th supporters. The Supreme Court overturned that decision, but several years later, after their lives were ruined, in the Fisher decision, as you said, they went after parents outraged by gender chaos in schools and the resulting rape in high school bathrooms. They went after Christians praying at abortion clinics while they gave amnesty. The Biden Justice Department gave amnesty to Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, the scumbag Biden crime family, BLM, Antifa, Hamas, Planned Parenthood, George Soros. Justice was promised before this last election. President Trump got an overwhelming electoral mandate, 312 electoral votes, all 7 swing states, the popular vote. He kept the House. He won a comfortable margin in the Senate. And guess what? President Trump is going to deliver on his campaign promise of justice and accountability.
You're also talking about a massive conspiracy here, Mike. I mean, you've got Donald Trump going after people for obviously illegality in their personal lives, like Adam Schiff, mortgage fraud, Tish James, mortgage fraud, but also the use of the federal government to go after Americans. There's criminality there. I mean, this is gigantic, Mike. And this is just the beginning. We're just scratching the surface, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. And so my good friend, Jason Redding Quinones, is the new U.S. Attorney in the Southern District of Florida. I'm down in Miami right now. I had some good meetings with him.
Great.
Justice is definitely coming for Crossfire Hurricane, the biggest criminal conspiracy, the biggest political scandal in American history, when these lawfare Democrats, including Obama, Biden, Hillary, Clapper, Brennan, Comey, so many of these Democrats, Andrew Weissman, these prosecutors, Jay Bratt, Jack Smith, Tish James, Fannie Willis, Nathan Wade, the Chris Mays out in Arizona. They ran unprecedented republic-ending lawfare. They tried to take out President Trump in 2016. They politicized and weaponized intel agencies to go after President Trump in 2016. They made up the Crossfire Hurricane hoax, the Russian collusion hoax, because they were trying to destroy Trump, help Hillary, and to cover up her foreign corruption. Right, when she was the Secretary of State, she was taking tens of millions of dollars into the Clinton Foundation. And what was she doing in return? We don't know, because she destroyed the evidence. She destroyed the server. So they made up Russian collusion, and they've tried to destroy Trump for the last 8 years. And guess what? Justice is coming.
Mike, I know you're busy. I know you're in Florida. Can you hold through the break? Is that possible?
Sure.
I hate to inconvenience you, but I really want to finish up the conversation. Let's take a break and come back quickly. Mike Davis, Article 3 Project on the Rob Carson Show. Don't go anywhere.
WCVM.
Here we go.
Yeah, those indictments we just saw for Comey and Tish James are the appetizer indictments. And the big one, the main course, is going to be the conspiracy against rights under 18 USC Section 241. I've publicly called for this for the last 3+ years since the Mar-a-Lago raid.
Yeah, there's a lot of shenanigans, and finally, the feces is hitting the fan. Mike Davis, Article 3 Project, joins us on the NEWSMAX hotline. Mike, as soon as Lindsay Halligan was announced, they started to go after her. And I think that's backfired pretty quickly as we begin to see how ultimately qualified she is for this task.
She is bold and fearless. She's a warrior for the Constitution. She had to defend President Trump against this lawfare, the politicized and weaponized intelligences and law enforcement brought to us by Barack Obama and Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton and their minions. Justice is definitely coming. There's definitely going to be accountability. You may have seen this. The U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of Florida, Jason Redding Quinones, my good friend, who I pushed President Trump to pick for that job, is a bold and fearless warrior. His family is a bunch of Cuban refugees who deplore politicized and weaponized government because they escaped it in communist Cuba. And Jason Redding Quinones is a good friend of mine, and you saw that he just motioned the courts to open up a special grand jury in Fort Pierce, Florida. That grand jury should be fully impaneled by January, and I imagine that Crossfire Hurricane will get moving out of Fort Pierce, the Fort Pierce grand jury, because remember what these Democrats did. This is the biggest scandal in American history. They politicized and weaponized law enforcement and political and intelligence agencies to take out political enemies. This is what you see in the third world.
Yes.
This is what Marxist regimes do in the third world. We cannot allow this to happen in America. There must be the most severe, and I mean the most severe, legal, political, and financial consequences for this, so this never happens again.
Now, we've got, we've had the Democrats say no one is above the law, no one is above the law, no one is above the law. Mike, is no one above the law? This includes Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama.
Well, I would say nobody's above the law. Barack Obama, as we just saw with President Trump, will be able to make a presidential immunity argument for his official acts while he's in office. But anything that he did after he left office, for example, by continuing to participate in a criminal conspiracy under, for example, USC Section 241, you don't have presidential immunity for that. So I would say to Barry Obama, lawyer up, buddy.
Yeah.
Because nobody's above the law.
Well, there's a reason why he kept a house in D.C., Mike. There's a reason why he kept a house in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
You know?
They had their puppet president in Joe Biden.
Oh, yes.
Had to drool all over the place and, could function for about 2 hours a day between diaper changings. But no, justice is definitely coming. And that includes Barack Obama, Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, every person who participated in this conspiracy against President Trump, his top aides, and his supporters, they better lawyer up.
Yeah, and you had Jack Smith going after Donald Trump for classified documents. We find out that John Bolton had a bunch of those, and it sounds like things are really going to hit the fan pretty quickly for him. What do you know about the case against Bolton?
Well, President Trump was allowed to have his presidential records in the office of former president, which is allowed by the Presidential Records Act, and it doesn't matter whether they're classified or not. The president can access his presidential records anytime he wants. Contrast that with John Bolton, who did not have the Presidential Records Act. So that's clearly clearly espionage.
That's espionage, yes.
Records.
Wow.
When you have classified records you're not supposed to have, that's clearly espionage. So it looks like Bolton's going to have some legal problems.
Yeah. Also, Adam Schiff is in a lot of trouble with some similarities between his case and Fonnie Willis and Letitia James's case.
Yeah, I mean, what's the deal with these Democrats? They like to commit mortgage fraud.
It's double standards, man.
We didn't commit mortgage fraud. That's a lie. That's a conspiracy. And then there's no evidence we committed mortgage fraud. And then when the evidence piles in, like Lindsay just did, to Big Tish, then they say, well, everyone commits mortgage fraud, and this is racist. I don't know what Adam Schiff's going to say. He can't use the race card, so maybe he'll transgender himself into a woman and say he's a victim.
What do you think? I'm going to ask you this. You got the big No Kings protest this weekend. Donald Trump's going to use RICO statutes to go after the massive web of money for these leftist radical groups. Do you suppose that that's going to come raining down on people like George Soros and the affiliated billionaires and NGOs that are behind these protests?
I hope so, because it's amazing. All these protesters show up, and they're paid protesters, and they get put up in hotels and pay for their flights and food, and then they show up with these expensive gas masks and expensive body shields. It's amazing. Who's paying for this? It's like, during the BLM riots, who paid for the pallets of bricks that would just show up?
Yep.
George Soros is one of the most sinister people in American history. He is subversive.
Yep.
He is one of the most destructive forces to the West. He's trying to destroy America.
Yep.
He's trying to destroy the West. He's a Marxist. He's a sick man. His son's a sick man. And I hope they both go to prison.
I do, too. I hope that or worse, actually. Mike Davis. Mike, thanks so much for your time today. I know you're busy. Any way we can help out Article 3 Project?
You can go to article3project.org, article number 3. Project.org. Follow us on social media. Donate, but only what you can afford.
Yes.
And the most important thing your audience can do is take action.
Amen.
Action.
Amen, brother. God bless you. I appreciate you. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. David.
Hey
what
guys,
a show
Carson, you know what's the scariest part of October?
You didn't have to pay for it.
It's not haunted
you don't
houses
even have to pay for the show. My God, most people pay. How much would you pay to get this show?
Every day it seems there's a new way to trick you from text scams.
Are we having fun? Holy hell.
Hard to keep up.
Holy
That's
hell.
why this Cyber Scaries month,
Letitia better go to jail, according to Round the Pony. I hope so, too. I hope the big fat butt goes to jail. It is time people went to jail. It is time. They had no compunction about sending Donald Trump to jail for the rest of his life. They had him facing 700 years in jail. They had no issues or concerns whatsoever. And, we're supposed to be afraid of sending them to jail because they're going to riot. They had no issue. They knew that we wouldn't riot if they put Donald Trump in jail. But I'm going to tell you right now, there's going to be hell to pay. There's going to be hell to pay from all of these people. And this is a massive conspiracy like we've never seen before in American history. It is a massive scandal. And it's going to take years. It's going to take years for us to weed through this and put people up on charges and put them through trial and then into jail.
Sell ag equipment,
and then into jail. Or worse. In the case of George Soros, he should be put to death. And I'm not afraid to say it anymore. What the damage that he's caused, the death of civilians and police officers, the amount of damage in our country that he has caused and the violence that he has fomented and paid for, hell yes. Hell yes. This is sedition. This is real sedition. And it's been going on for years in our country. And they're going to try and put a head on it this weekend with these idiotic no Kings protests that are happening this weekend. So anyway, a lot of stuff happening. A lot of balls in the air. Blockbuster 2K, what up? Good to see you there. Brand new to the show. I haven't seen you on the YouTube chat before, but we're glad to have you here watching this show. Reeves, whatever that is. Hi, good to see you as well. Krez, or whatever the hell. Good to see you watching today. TPWW being added to the regular viewers. I got to get back and finish up this show.
You have 3 minutes.
It is a Rob Carson Show. My goodness, what a show we've had with Mike Davis and everything. My God, John Solomon last hour, amazing. Fantastic. Hey, there's this guy. He's running for sheriff, and I found this story, and he killed this guy who tried to rape his daughter. He was charged with murder for killing a violent child predator after catching the monster in a vehicle with his teenage daughter, and now he's running for sheriff. And I got to tell you, we're going to get him on the air, and I support his candidacy 100,000%.
Hello, Lone Oak. My name is Aaron Spencer. Many of you know my story. I'm the father who acted to protect his daughter when the system failed. I'm also a husband, a combat veteran of the 82nd Airborne Division, a contractor, and a farmer. And through my own fight for justice, I have seen firsthand the failures in law enforcement and in our circuit court. And I refuse to stand by while others face these.
Now, this guy, deputies were en route after Spencer called the Lonoke County Police Department October 8th, 2024 to report his 14-year-old daughter missing. He found her in a truck with his sexual predator, Michael Foster, 67-year-old man who has been faced over 40 child sex crimes involving Spencer's daughter, and Spencer killed the B word. Now he's running for sheriff, and we're going to try and get him on the show. Buford Pusser's running for sheriff. By the way, I want to mention gold is broken, $4,100. It looks like right now, if you want to buy gold, you can get silver for free with Birch Gold. I want to mention this one more time because right now you get this beautiful, for every $5,000 purchased from Birch Gold in advance of Veterans Day, they're going to send you a free patriotic silver round that commemorates the Gadsden and American flags. It's right there if you're watching on social media. Just text my name, Rob, to 989898. Rob to 989898. Gold is getting more expensive by the day. $4,100. $4,100 an ounce. It's not stopping. I mean, I'll just tell you, speculation is above 10 grand. Okay? And honestly, if you looked at the trajectory this year, 40+% this year, get it done, okay? Again, buy gold, get free silver for every $5,000 purchase from Birch Gold, which is an investment, by the way. You get this glorious silver round featuring the Gadsden and American flags. Text my name, Rob, to 989898, Rob to 989898, and get one of these. Like I have, I carry it with me everywhere in my pocket. It's my good luck charm, baby. You guys are my good luck charm, too. Yeah, if you get a chance to share the podcast with others, go to your usual podcast platforms like Spotify and make sure to subscribe, will ya? God bless you, America's founded. Donald Trump and his administration for bringing peace and justice to America and the world. And until tomorrow, for goodness sake, don't catch the stupid. I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, Rob, you have a good night.
All right, Brian.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is NEWSMAX. It's real news for real people.